Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Hackers Talk. I'm Dushyant, and we are excited to welcome you all for the third day of Global Infosec Summit. And today we are having really amazing people, starting with Mr. Sanjeev Multani. He's really an expert in cybersecurity field, and he's gonna tell us all about buffer overflow. So before he starts his session, I just want to say buffer overflow is really a hard topic in cybersecurity field. So if you guys really want to understand the bits and bytes of buffer overflow, make sure you listen to him. Yeah. So Sanjeev sir, over to you.
Thanks, Dushyant. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah, sir.
Yeah. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good. How is sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you people? So there are 22 people we are watching us right now. It's
Yeah.
good talk. So hi guys, this is Sanjeev, your friendly neighborhood hacker. Sanj, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well in the times of COVID-19. Stay home, stay safe, and we'll be starting our talk in just a few minutes. Let people come and join us in the stream right now. So tell me, Arshad, how are you doing? How the things are working for you right now?
Doing great, sir. You tell. I mean, buffer overflow is really an interesting topic. Do you
Yeah,
want to?
Buffalo Flow is something like you have to become a next level nerd or next level geek to understand Buffalo Flow, how the things work basically. And when you talk about Buffalo Flow is more about assembly, Python, socket programming, ports, protocols, exploitation, amongst like all of them you can
So,
say. So I'm saying I know I'm saying very technical geek nerd kind of like words right now, but still this is what Buffalo Flow is. So I'll be starting with that and. So we are having some people right now. Nice, nice. I think we should start right now.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So hi guys, Sanjeev this side again, and I'll be starting with buffer overflow today. And I'm not going to be among most of the topics in buffer overflow. Like buffer overflow is kind of a kernel exploitation, already know, and most of the people know that. Most of the people doesn't know that. So I'll be going with the basic part, not much of a technical part. And I'm not having any presentation to be today. So this is the best part for you because I'm not the guy of presentation. I'm the guy of demonstration. So I'll be showing some demonstration to you. I guess I'm having some demonstrations ready. And I'll be talking about buffer overflow in the starting right now, like how it happens and why it happens. So let's understand why you need buffer overflow and why people wants to do buffer overflow. So the first answer I got guys, please answer in the stream right now. So the first answer I got from multiple people, like why people want to do buffer overflow, is because of the topmost geek certification we have, that is OSCP. So because of OSCP, people want to learn buffer overflow. And I told them that if you want to learn buffer overflow just because of OSCP, you're doing a big mistake, my friend. So why? Because OSCP is just a certification. If you're learning something, implement it in your real life scenario. And buffer overflow is something which is amazing thing. Like if I talk about buffer overflow, most of the attacks right now which happens in the universe right now, if I talk about the biggest hacks like remote code execution, for example, people talk about, like recently people were going crazy about how the Zoom app got hacked. Zoom is I know it's a big platform for doing video calls, video conferences, and blah 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 things, but people are going crazy, man. Like there are people okay, how people are getting hacked, like how people are getting Zoom hacked and blah 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 things. Zoom are only having 2 vulnerability listed in this month right now, and same month right now, the April month, Microsoft have got 134 vulnerabilities listed. So people are going with the Zoom right now because it's getting trending right now. But people are not going with Microsoft, and they're using Microsoft systems in their daily life. Most of the people, I say 70% of the people use Microsoft operating systems, Windows especially. So they're the Windows people, and they for example, the refresh button of the Windows part. So I'll be make to bore with my PJs also. So please bear me, and I'm already saying sorry for that in the front. So I'll be having multiple PJs so that the public should be attracted towards it. So the next part is I have most of the things when I talk about buffer overflow basically. I guess, Asad, you have already heard about bug bounty hunting, how people go to bug bounty hunting programs and how people do the bug bounty programs. Bug bounty hunting is an amazing thing, man. Like every hacker right now, according to my perspective, every hacker right now starts with bug bounty hunting. Because web application is it's a fraud, man. But the web application is something like it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and it's the most broad thing I've ever seen in cybersecurity, you can say. But it's a very nice thing. You people are starting the bug bounty hunting. But I just had one question to the people. I guess many people are watching us right now, and they are also doing the bug bounty hunting part. I just have one question for them. You start with bug bounty hunting. It's a very amazing thing. I also started with bug bounty hunting. The problem I feel in the society, the cybersecurity society right now is when the people start with bug bounty hunting, they don't go further and beyond that. They always stuck in the bug bounty process itself. Like there was a great man. I heard a story about Andrew Russell, and Andrew Russell talked about a rubber band theory. So a rubber band theory is something like you have a rubber band like this, and the rubber band is stretchable. You always know. So this is like your goals, man. This is something like which you have to do in your real life aspects. So you have your goal like this, and in rubber band theory, this is the starting point, and this is the ending. For example, about your goal. Now you are, as a rubber band theory, you are going towards your goal like this. And when you're going towards your goal like this, your rubber band will be free. It will be not stretchable. It will be only free. So until or unless you don't set up multiple goals at the same time, or when you are achieving one goal, until or unless you don't extend your goal, you're not doing the right thing. For example, when you're having a goal 50% completed, you should extend your goal 100 to 100% more. Why I'm telling this? Because this will make your career into like much perspective way. So when you talk about cybersecurity aspects, people start with bug bounty hunting. They do web application pen testing. They find some accesses in multiple programs. It's an amazing thing. You are helping people. Some people are right now connected with NCIPC also, the government program we are having, the Responsible Vulnerability Disclosure Program. But my point is, you're doing bug bounty hunting, for example, from 2 years. Have you listed a single vulnerability or a single CVE for NVD or Mitre or, for example, NISC? Have you contributed to them? Okay, so the people who don't know about CVE is Common Vulnerability Exposure Number. So when you have a vulnerability out, you have a CVE ID, which is created by Mitre organization and NVD organization. NVD is National Vulnerability Database. And these people help out worldwide, and these are created by the Homeland Security of US, by the way. So it's a government organization authorization, which is created by the government of US. So when you talk about the bug bounty hunting people, I'm especially like talking to them, and this will directly relate to why buffer overflow. So when you talk about the people, like the people who are doing bug bounty hunting, it's amazing job you are doing. I'm not discouraging you. I'm only like encouraging you people, and you're doing a brilliant job. That's for you. But when you do the bug bounty hunting, you should expand your goals to the more aspects also. When you're not expanding your goals to the more aspects, you're not doing the more job, man. But you're not doing something new. If you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to become a creator or something like that, you have to do something which is out of the box. Out of the box means like it should be something which is tremendous expendable thing. It should be something which is having a charismatic aura or something like that. So when you talk about this part again, when you talk about buffer overflow, by buffer overflow, I'll tell you one big gem. Almost every exploit right now, which is based on CVE numbers, remote code execution, if I talk about more of them, I talk about exploitations majorly, more of remote code executions, more of privilege escalations, more of denial of service attack, more of memory corruption attacks. They are all based on buffer overflow attacks. Every attack are based on buffer overflow attacks. And buffer overflow is actually a sub part of a big attack, and that attack is kernel exploitation. So these all attacks are coming from the kernel part, basically. And these attacks are directly correlated to them. So buffer overflow is one of my favorite topic. So if you talk about my expertise about me, so like currently, if people ask me that am I married or something? Technically, yeah, I am married to buffer overflows because it's something like the amazing thing in my life. And I met buffer overflows in 4 years back, you can say, while doing some research or something like that. And I was going with the rubber band theory, obviously. And while doing that, it was the most, you can say, struggle or hurdles being thing in my life, which I've seen in cybersecurity. So beyond that, I was going crazy in buffer overflow, and it was more of multiple things. So buffer overflow is amazing. What are the prerequisites you need for buffer overflow? So most of the exploitations, if we talk about like buffer kernel exploitation, basically are based on one language majorly, and that one language is assembly language. So for that, you have to learn about assembly language, how it works. For example, I guess most of the people have heard about something like 8085 registers and other things, microprocessors basically. And we learned about them in our college time and other things. So at that time, we just learned them to pass the examination, to be honest. And you'll all agree to that, man. And I was also one of them, and I was also just like doing the rectification part. Rectify मार रहे थे हम लोग भी, and after that we were just giving the exam, we were just sitting out, and we just got passed. Simple. But when you talk about buffer overflow, especially, buffer overflow needs a particular technical depth part in assembly language. The thing which we learned in our like you can say college life or something like that about microprocessor, that the same thing can hack your computer. And the funny part is, I'll not even touch your computer. So buffer overflow is that kind of attack in which you don't have to touch any machine or something like that. And it's a remote code execution again. Remote code execution is something refers to that remotely you can execute any code in a machine. That code can be anything. That code can be, so turn on your computer, like turn on your camera on your camera and microphone on your computer. So if a camera and microphone has been turned on in your computer, I can see you, I can listen to you, and where's your privacy then? Where's your privacy? Nothing. And you think you can catch me in that time? There are multiple anonymity like products are available right now. More of them are Tails, Unix. Unix is one of the best, I feel, and there are multiple people who are using them. So you talk about catching them according to our IT law right now, which is according to me is very weak. You cannot catch people like very easily or very quickly or something like that. So for that part, what I feel like buffer overflow is something which you have to understand in a technical depth part to do more of the things. If you get a CV registered for your name for a single time or only one CV, for example, people will use your exploit for multiple things. People will reuse your exploits, and can be possible that examination like OSCP are having your particular exploit into their examination, and that's the biggest achievement, my friend. It will be something like which is tremendous. But when you find out a bug, when you find out, I'm not discouraging again, but when you find out a bug or something like that, for example, you find out XSS, there's no platform in this world, I feel like, which can use your bug into an examination like OSCP. So you have to understand in registering a CVE number or registering a like vulnerability or exploit of your own name is much bigger than like getting a bug registered or something like that. And I also do bug bounty hunting. Like I do a lot basically. So I'm being on HackerOne and Bugcrowd basically. But more of a thing, like I'm right now like spending my time into exploit writing. Exploit writing is only done by buffer overflow itself, and it's just about fuzzing. Fuzzing is a process where you send, like you break the program. So I am the guy like who make the things first, then break the things. So how I break the things, basically I send like invalid inputs in a like simple way. I send absurd things to a program. Like for example, asking for a username. What I'm entering a particular emojis or emoticons or something like that. So that's how basically by like you can say mistake or something like that, you got a bug basically. So this is how you got a bug every single time. So I want you people to like give your time to exploit DB, packet storm, publish your research papers into that, and publish your exploit into that. Believe me, it will be much bigger than bug bounty hunting also. Do that also. Bug bounty hunting is amazing stuff. Do that also side by side, but also contribute 10% of your time of your day, your 10% of your time of a month, I say that, to a particular like bug bounty hunting program. So most of the people ask me, that's like buffer overflow is very hard. It's very technical part. It's very advanced. How do you start? How did we begin, man? How did we learn that? Most people ask me the same question. Let me ask you the same question. Like in the chat, I'm seeing the chat right now. How many people play PUBG over here? Can you please raise your hand or please say yes? PUBG people over here. I'm seeing the names. Can we see the names? How many PUBG people are over here?
I'm sure a lot of them play.
I can see some names over here. Nice. So there are many PUBG people over here, I guess. Huge fan. Okay. So when I talk about the PUBG thing, how do you start playing PUBG? Most of the time, you need this simple with a mobile phone. What do you need? You need a particular application which is saying that it is having the PUBG installed or something like that. It's a simple thing. Now, I read a theory of a guy that to learn something you need almost 10,000 hours. Like there's a guy, Stock Frederick. I guess most of the people have heard about him. So Stock Frederick is a like cybersecurity researcher. I follow him a lot. So he was telling about like most of the people say that they need 10,000 hours to learn something. Actually, I don't think it's possible. 10,000 hours to learn something is if you are like a tremendous kind of person that then also like you need 10,000 hours to learn. 10,000 hours is a lot, man. So when you talk about you want to learn something or something like that, according to me, you just need 20 hours to learn something. 10,000 hours is something that when you want to become a pro level kind of a guy, in cybersecurity or in buffer overflows. So you just need to like give your 20 hours of your day and 20 hours, not 20 hours of your day, 20 hours of your month, you can say. And those 20 hours should be something which is amazing. So if I talk about 20 hours and if you talk about a month, okay, so you can say 45 minutes a day, something like that. But those 45 minutes of day should be amazing learning. It should be something like when you search off your mobile phone and tell your parents or you tell your family and you tell your girlfriends or boyfriends that I'm doing this stuff, I'm doing stuff, and please don't disturb me for next 45 hours because 45 minutes because this is my most priority thing right now. So this is something which you people have to like start with. So for starting with buffer overflows, the first thing you need to start is assembly language. The first thing, number one thing over here. The second thing you need to start with is like I guess Python and socket programming. As socket programming is something because like whatever you do, you use WhatsApp, you use like YouTube or something like that. Whenever you use a like social media platform or not a social media platform, a IT platform or something which is having an internet established, you need a socket. Socket is again IP and a port number. So you always need a socket to connect with something, and there should be two sockets who can connect with each other. The first socket is of a like attackers guy. Second of not the attackers guy. Like I'm talking about in my hackers mindset. So I am always an attacker in my hackers mindset. I'm so sorry for that. So the first socket should be of a sender, and the second socket should be of a receiver, basically. So there should be two sockets who should connect with each other. Then you can communicate, obviously. So for doing a hacking platform into buffer overflows or a kernel like exploitation, you can say, for that having two sockets separated with each other, and they should be connected with each other with each other to continue with the exploitation part again. So socket programming with Python is very amazing. You should learn that, and it's very easy again. So I'll be showing you some of the stuff to do that, how to do that again. And the next thing you need over here is some like a little bit information about how exploitation happens. Exploitation, as in, for example, you know like what is reverse shell, what is bind shell, and you should like have a handy experience on a like platform like Metasploit framework, basically, which is created by HD Moore and Rapid7, basically. And then you can start with your exploitation in buffer overflows. So, like again, buffer overflow is amazing. So, how many people over here wants to see exploitation in buffer? Like, how many people are over here who wants to see how to do a buffer overflow attack? And one more thing. So, I'm doing some crazy stuff right now. Like, this is the first time I'm doing this. I want you people to tell me anything, any topic, something like that. So, I'm giving you topics, for example. I'm giving three products. The first is free float FTP. The second is one server, and the third is SL mail. You choose any one of them, and I'll do buffer overflow on them. You choose any one of them, and I'll do that. I'll show it. So just right away. I'm just seeing your chats right now with my friend laptop. So please tell me any kind of like any program, and I'll do the particular program. So and like Asad, you can also help me out in choosing a topic, like any topic. You give me any topic, any buffer overflow exploitation, I'll do that. I guess I should put a particular message in the WhatsApp chat also, on the YouTube stream also, so that people can tell me what kind of application they are choosing. Okay. So I'm putting up a text over here. Choose anyone. Free float FTP.
So a lot of them are replying with free float.
One server. Yeah, sorry.
Free float. I mean, a lot of people in the audience replying.
Okay, free float. Everyone wants to do the free float part. Done, man. So we start with the free float FTP. So I have to connect my different laptop with that. I'm just joining a Zoom meet from my different laptop. Just a sec, because I use that one for exploration. Just give me a minute.
I must say, sir,
I just
your
need
audience is
5 seconds,
very
man.
humorous. I mean, you have a really big fan base.
Not a fan. Just a net man. Thank you, by the way. Thank you so much for the compliment. So let me. So I've not given my kind of like introduction to them as a presentation guy. So I'm not more of a guy of presentation basically. I show demonstrations more for explorations and all stuff. So that's why
Sure, sure, sure.
like people like those stuff.
Meanwhile, guys, if you have any questions, you can ask on live chat.
Yeah.
Although I only see free float, free float, free float.
So am I connected right now? I guess I'm connected.
Yes, sir, you are connected.
Yeah, perfect. So I just have to like I just put this laptop over here so you people can see me right now. And this one is over here. Perfect. So I'll be doing the free part, and I'm sharing my screen right now with all of you, so that all can see like how to do the fan. And I'll be doing every single thing on Windows 10, the latest version or something like that. So not more of a Windows XP guy, you can say. And I don't like Windows, to be honest. Like I hate Windows. Windows is something which is the most like I should not say that, but this is the most terrible operating system I've ever seen. So that's why I'm not like more of a Windows fan. So let me start with the part right now, and I'll be downloading the free float again. So just a sec. I'm just sharing my screen. I guess I don't have the like permission to present. Do I have the permission to present? Azad, can you check please?
Yeah, I'm checking, sir. By the way, sir, my name is Dushant.
Yeah, Dushan. Hi, sorry. I
Not a
can see you
problem.
all the time, so
Yeah,
I,
it's fine, sir.
yeah, I got the permission.
Yeah.
I got the permission. Thanks. So I guess you people can see my screen right now, and don't see my stuff, please. Let me hide it out. So I'm having two machines on right now. The one is Kali machine, and the second is like Windows 10 right now. And according to you people, you told me that please do something like free float FTP. So I'm going with free float FTP right now, and I'm just downloading free float FTP from Google. And then I'll show you how to one by one how to do the buffer overflow part. So okay, so this is the free float FTP exploit which is having over here. I remember I've done this exploit almost 3 years ago. So I've done multiple buffer overflows. This is one of them. I just download the vulnerable application. Perfect, and here's the app. Perfect. So I got the application over here, and this is my Windows machine. Let me put the application in that Windows machine. Okay, I got it over here. I guess you people can see the screen. If you are not able to see the screen, please text on the particular chat area. And if you have any kind of question, please like put over there. I'll be glad to resolve them. Come on. What is happening? Okay, I guess I got the application. Yes or no? Not yet. So I have to use some browser over here, download over here itself. Guys, please be patient, and I guess my session can delay for a little bit more than an hour. So
You have all the world's time, sir.
Yeah, so I think Anshul is a good friend of mine, and he'll be happy to give much time from his session to me. So thanks, Anshul, by the way. So free float, FTP. Okay, it's connecting. Perfect. So I again got free float FTP over here. So there are multiple steps to do buffer overflow basically, and this is one of the stack-based buffer overflow. See, buffer overflow always spin into the kernel part itself. So most of the people say that, sir, when you do a buffer overflow, does it matter when you have Windows? Does it matter when you have Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, or something like that? According to me, it doesn't matter because when you do buffer overflow attack, it is on a kernel part basically. It is not on the Windows part. It's not on the OS part more of a thing. It's more of a kernel part. So when you do a buffer overflow attack kind of a thing, you're basically exploiting a kernel, x86 kernel more of the time, and or 64-bit kernel, and the kernels are all same, and the working of kernels are all same. So you have to do the kernel exploitation basically. I'm just extracting the particular application. Perfect. So I got the application. Good news. So we start the exploitation part right now. Perfect, man. So let me check whether the application is working or not. Yeah. So this is the FTP server, which is working. So let me give you a kind of a quick introduction or something, like how buffer overflow happens and how to do that again, and what are the steps to do buffer overflow. What are the steps to perform buffer overflow attacks majorly? So when you perform buffer overflow, oh my bad, it's low. Just give me a sec. I just come back. Just give me a sec.
Sorry for the delay, guys. YouTube got no chill, and the lagging part is really frustrating.
So I got the application. So yeah. So when you talk about buffer overflow, that kind of a thing, again, buffer overflow is meant in different process, basically you can say. So then waves, like I guess you people have played some zombie game where you have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and you have more of a zombie. So same like this thing. I talk about buffer overflow as a wave part, and you have particular waves for that. And to do buffer overflow attack, you need to understand the waves part exactly. So there are 6 waves which I have created, and these waves I have created for the process part. That's it. You people can create your own waves also. So it's totally dependent on you. It's like cooking. So it's your own recipe and it's your own thing. How you want to make it. So the first wave we always have a buffer overflow. This wave is something known as spiking. So spiking, let me tell you what is spiking. More of a thing. So spiking is something whenever I talk about a person, when you hack, people say, sir, where are you hacking? What exactly you are hacking? For example, we got a recent bug in WhatsApp basically. By that, people can hack WhatsApp remotely without even touching your mobile phone. So what I need to know is, people will be like, sir, you need to know whether I should be connected in your own network, your same network or something. No, I'll do that attack globally, man. And swear me, if you want me to do that, I'll do that. Okay, so that attack is, it was had a CVE number again. That CVE was CVE 2019 11932. You people can go through that. So when I talk that attack was also a buffer overflow attack. Basically, this is we got in Android and WhatsApp. So when you put the spiking part again, actually is spiking. When you talk about where are you hacking, you are actually hacking not on an application, you're actually hacking on a particular operating system, you're actually hacking on a service or a protocol, you can say. So protocol is always there to hack. So spiking is a particular process, you can say, where we find out a particular service and their parameter where we are actually attacking. So for that, we have to go through the spiking part. The next thing is we find out a particular parameter. For example, the parameter is FTP, or the parameter is, example, POP3 or SMTP, or particular thing. But these parameters, these protocols can be anything again. So those protocols are having some some parameters again or something like that. So what we have to do is, for example, we have SMTP. Where actually is SMTP running? For example, you are using Google. Now Google gives their own server to you if you want to purchase it. You purchase some Google server and put it in your desktop, for example. When you put that Google server in your desktop, you make your own collection as a server. There is a port number which will open inside your machine, or there will be a service which will open inside your machine, and that service will be SMTP, most of the thing, like simple protocol. So SMTP will be the which will run in the machine, basically. So to break that service or to break that particular application, you need to do the second phase or second wave part, and this wave over here is something known as fuzzing. Fuzzing is the thing where you attack to a particular application by breaking into the own code. The next thing we need over here, third thing, when you do the fuzzing part, so fuzzing is one thing. The next thing should be what they're doing from that part. Like we are breaking the application. So for example, there is an application. That application is Skype. Skype is asking you, please enter your username. So that username should be, for example, my username is Sanjeev Malpani. This is my username for Skype. For example, what I do inside of Sanjeev, what I put over here is I put this, and this is my magic script. I just start putting this thing inside the username part, and Skype is not stopping me. Skype is stopping me. Why Skype is not stopping me? Because Skype is asking for more parameters. So when you keep putting the parameters in a particular application, what will happen is that application will take those parameters into their variables, and the variables can make crash because they're not accepting this much of data. So when they crash it out, you have the buffer overflow parameter. So for that, what we have to do is we have to understand that how we are going to attack those particular parts. So the next part we have for after the fuzzing part again is we have some registers in our assembly operation. So I'm so sorry guys, I cannot teach you complete buffer overflow in an hour or two, basically, because to learn buffer overflow it took me 3, to be honest. I've done more than 200 or buffer overflow, something like that. More than 200, I guess. I'll give you the list also. So because I'm having the POC of every buffer overflow. So when you talk about doing buffer overflows, you need to understand that how kernel responds, how assembly works, and socket programming works. So I cannot go through every single thing again. I'm so sorry for that. Just understand the process a little bit. Whatever doubt you are having, please send your doubts to me on my Instagram handle, on my WhatsApp handle, on my Twitter handle or LinkedIn handle, and everywhere I'll be glad to ask to tell you the answer over there. So after the fuzzing part, the next part we have is we have controlled something, and that thing is the queen of buffer overflow. So there is a queen everywhere. When you see the alien game, what you have to do is you have to hit the queen. If you hit the queen in the alien game, the whole game is completed. So same like the queen in buffer overflow. So control the queen basically, and that queen is actually a kind of a you can say register, and this register is something known as EIP. I'm talking about stack-based buffer overflow mode. So EIP is something that is known as extended instruction pointer, which we need more of our time. The fourth way we need after this thing is EIP. What does EIP do? I'll tell you. So I guess you people think that you are the only person who controls your machine, who controls your mobile phone, who controls your laptop, who controls your IoT devices or smartwatches or something like that. You are the only person who are controlling them. Actually, it's wrong. Well, with you, I'm not hacking you or something like that, just telling you. With you, there is one more thing who is controlling your machine, and that machine is the queen, EIP. So EIP is actually a register, or you can say a pointer, which pointer again, which carries the address of a process. So when you talk about EIP, when you want to like double click a particular application, for example, you want to double click GTA 5 or you want to double click PUBG, what actually you're doing is you're putting the main function address of the particular application, main function of PUBG or the main function of like any game, GTA 5 or something like that, and you're putting that address inside EIP, or you're giving the address to the EIP. So whatever thing you give to the EIP, EIP says, okay sir, मैं चला दूंगा. So it's something like that again. So EIP को आप जो भी देते हो, वो उसको run कर देता है. It will execute that part. So whatever thing you give to the EIP, EIP executes it without asking to anyone again. So we have to control the EIP again because, for example, if I control your machine's EIP and I tell them, shoot a video and send me that video, what will happen? I guess you are like smart enough to understand the part again. So I'm going to the next wave again. The next wave we have is the address. Now, what do you mean by the address wave? Again, let me give you a clear scope. For example, what I want to do is I want to hack you and I want to see some sensitive images which you have in your mobile phone. I want to see some sensitive chats which you are having in your like mobile phone, WhatsApp Messenger or anything. I want to see you with your webcam without even touching you, without even knowing you, and I want to record your thing. Is it a good thing? No, not exactly. It's a very bad thing. It's a drastic thing which can happen. But to do that, to hack a particular person and to hack a particular device, for example, and to open a particular application, for example, whatever I've said, like I have to, for example, I have to open your camera. I have to put the address of your camera, like you can say main function address of your camera to the EIP part. So what I have to do is I have to finalize the address of a particular thing in your machine so that I can like hack it up again. So after the address, the fifth wave we have is the shellcode. Shellcode and there's one more thing, the bad characters. So number one thing, there's no good characters. There are only bad characters. Bad characters, I guess you can understand there are some bad keywords. I'll come to that later on. But shellcode, what is shellcode? So shellcode is something which is the love of a life, you can say, which gives the like extreme happiness to me and extreme happiness to the hackers. Shellcode is actually a payload or a particular kind of a script, you can say, which I will send you to your machine. And what will happen is once you double click it or once it will execute on your machine, I got the complete control of your mobile phone or complete control of your device. So I can have anything again. And the last sixth wave we have, there's the most like amazing wave or the priciest wave we have. And this wave is named as the something like root. I guess you can understand what is the root. The root actually is like I got your access or something like that. So let me start the process without like wasting much time. I'm starting with your like that application itself, the free float FTP, which you people told me. And let me see if you want to take a screenshot, you can go ahead, please. So what I'm doing over here is I'm just finding out the IPs in my network, how many IPs I'm having in my network, and my bad. So that I can start with some vulnerability assessment and for the part. So I got some IP, and this is my like you can say internal network. So please don't try to do something on this IP because it will not work. Okay. So I have this IP, and I'm just doing nmap into this IP so that I can find out the services or the protocols which I said earlier, where the attacks actually work. So you can see there are some particular services which are working right now, and where the attack is actually working. So over here you can see that I'm having some 4 ports which are open, and these ports are having some services related. You can clearly see that there are some services written over here and the port numbers are overwritten. Now what I'm doing is I have to find out one by one each port, and I have to find their parameter. So I'll be starting from the first wave. What was the first wave? Guys on the comment. What was the first wave? The first wave was spiking again. So what I have to do is I have to find out the parameters of these particular services. So for doing that, we can use 2 tools basically. The first tool we can use is Netcat. Netcat you can use by doing NC, something like that. The second tool you can use over here is something known as Telnet. You can use these 2 tools again. So it's totally dependent on you, according to your choice. I can use both of them. I can show you both of them, how to do that again. So what I'm doing is, like the first tool I'm using over here is Telnet. How to use Telnet? You just write Telnet and click on enter. Then what you do is you just write open, and the IP address. So the IP was 159, yeah, exactly, 192.168.195.159, and I have to write the port number one by one. So you remember the free float the FTP port number is 21, basically. So I just put 21 over here. I just hit enter. And if you can see that I'm right now connected to a particular IP with the port number, and it's telling me that free float FTP server is connected over here. So I'm connected now. So what I do is I just write help or something like that to check some parameters. So this is telling me no help available or something like that. So I said okay. So there's some if there is FTP server something like that, there should be a particular like you can say parameters like username or password. So I just try with, for example, user Bob. Bob is a anonymous name again. So it's just a password required for Bob. Okay. So I just write pass Bob. And okay, so user Bob logged in. This is just a try. Like I don't know how it worked out, but the Bob is just like absurd username I use. I guess they are like accessing the username and they are allowing the username of any category. So this user which I wrote right now and this pass which I wrote right now, these two things are basically the parameters of that service FTP. The first way you can do this is like this. I just make it quit or exit. No, quit. It's not working. No issues. So just go with the next command. The next with netcat, how to do that? We can nc-mbv. We can write the IP, for example, and we can go ahead with 159. Yeah, and we can go ahead with the port number. Okay. So we again have float FTP, and we can again write something like help, and no help you like use over here. We can write user or something like aha and pass aha lamau. So haha is logged in over here. I don't know how it's logged in, but it's logged over here. So I'm going with the next part. So this was more of a spiking thing. In spiking, you go with more tool. So there is a tool basically. You go ahead for spiking part. So I have created a particular folder with the summit name. Yeah. So spiking is basically done by a kind of a script. Basically, you people can use the script, but over here in this scenario, spiking is not necessary because we already know that FTP service is vulnerable. Spiking is done where we don't know that which service vulnerable or which parameter is vulnerable. So when we talk about that part, how a spiking script looks like, this is a spiking script which it looks like. I mean, it's something like you have to put a parameter name over here, like FTP user or FTP password, or you have to do that. And after this, what you have to do is you have to use a tool known as generic send TCP. And with that, you have to put like your own IP, not your own IP, the victim's IP basically. So we call them the R host. R host is actually known as remote host, or you can say the victim's target IP. So we just write the target IP, then we just write out the target port number, and we just write the param spiking जो हमारे script था, we just write the spike part, and we just give some parameters again. So this is how we do that, but it's not necessary right now. If you want to understand how this thing works, you can go to a guy who does buffer overflow. This guy is known as Heath Adams. His channel is in Cyber Mentor, the Cyber Mentor kind of a thing. So he's having a tutorial on this thing. You can go ahead and learn how to do spiking part. And he's the only guy who's showing how to do spiking, I guess. So you can learn from this channel and do the spiking part later on. What I'm doing is next, I want to go ahead with the exploration. So I'm with I find out that free float FTP is running over here. So what I'm just going ahead on the finding out the exploit and doing the exploit folder. So I'm using a tool known as search exploit, and I just go with free float FTP. Okay. Very amazing. So I got these free FTP exploitation we choose. It was 2324P, something like that. So this much of which we can with. The exploit which we people chose over there is this, and we have the user parameter vulnerability. I guess you people can see right now or no? I guess you can see the screen. It's perfect. So this is the particular exploit which is vulnerable at that time. So I'm just going with the particular exploit and we'll do the fuzzing part again. So for doing fuzzing, the first thing we have to do is like I have to copy this particular exploit and make it a, like you can say, copy of this part. So I'm copying this particular exploit into my desktop, and in my desktop I get a particular script. The next part is I have to I just rename it first. So with exploit.py, I don't like this name. Okay, perfect. So I just read exploit.py and I just go with the script now. So over here, these hashtags over here are comments, so I'm just removing them. They're of no use again. The next part is, this is a particular exploit which is written by some guy who have done buffer overflow earlier on this particular thing. This is not my exploit, so I'll be doing this exploit and I'll be like changing this exploit according to my use again. So what I'm doing is the things which are of my use. So the first thing I want to check is whether this exploit actually worked or not. Whether it's working or not, for example. So I have to check that whether they're asking the IP inside the code or not. No. So they're not asking the IP inside the code. So what I have to do is I have to check Python exploit.py and I have to just try them out that whether they're working or not. So okay, perfect. So they are asking that please enter a particular IP address over here and click on exploit. So IP overwritten. So first, and this is the IP of that particular victim again. So what I do is I just write IP. Guys, can you hear me now? I guess it's not like I'm only speaking over here.
Everyone
Guys, can you hear me?
sir.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I just put the IP over here and 195.159, and I just typed it whether it's working or not. In this Windows machine right now, I can see that my particular application is working. So where's my FTP over here? And I guess my application is working. Yeah, my application is working perfectly. Now what I do is I just try to do so that's per then I just click, and once I click here, application is working perfect. Now can you see that I'm clicking on start again and again and again? It's not starting up. Why it's not starting up? The reason behind this is the application got crashed in the background. So what actually the background looks like, or the background of hota hai actually. So if you want to see the background part again, I have to show you the kernel, how the kernel looks like. So what I have to do is I have to again start the application, and I have to attach the application with this immunity debugger. This is a debugger which we people use more of the thing when you do some kind of exploitation with buffer overflow attacks. So what I do is I just my bad. So I just execute this application. So I hope you people are not getting bored. So just like I promised you, I'll be boring you with my lame jokes. So I'm having some lame jokes so that I can make you people connected with me or something like that. So the first lame joke, which I'm putting on the chat right now, and you people have to tell me the correct answer for this thing. So I'm so sorry in the front right now for asking this question. So the question is, here it goes. Read very carefully. Which country has the most of the germ in this planet Earth? I'm waiting for your answers in the comment box. Please tell me. Which country has the most of the germs in the planet Earth? Let me know. So the next thing we have to do is, we have to again run it out. Perfect. And yeah, my application is running, and I just run out the debugger. So immunity debugger is kind of a debugger which we people use for the kernel exploitation mode of a thing. So I just attach this kind of application, the FTP application, and after attaching, let us check what exactly is happening when we do a kind of exploitation on a particular application. When what happens in kernel when we do exploitation with like buffer overflow. So what I'm doing is okay. So what I'm doing is again restarting the exploit. Let me. Okay, so my machine has been crashed. Perfect. So I again restarted the IP 168.195.159. Perfect. I can click on exploit. Once we click on exploit, yeah, boom. So once we click on exploit, as you can see, my screen has gone blank. What do you mean by blank? What this blank means actually is, once your screen goes blank, actually your kernel got crashed. Your complete kernel of your operating system got crashed? No. But the kernel which is corresponding to this particular application, the free flow like FTP application, got crashed actually. So this is like what buffer overflow looks like. So the first step you have to do for doing buffer overflow is you have to get this thing. So this is something which is having the crash, which is known as fuzzing. If you can do this thing part, there's no one can stop you for doing buffer overflow. And if you can find out this thing in a particular application, for example, any application on this planet Earth, what you can do is, like for example, I'll give you a complete scope for this thing. Just recently, I guess, like many of you play PUBG over here. So just recently, PUBG got a kind of a notification, and this notification was looking like this. So this was the notification which people can see in the application of PUBG. Now, what was happening over here? Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses? I can guess you know like what happened over here. There is something known as buffer overflow attack which happened over here. So in PUBG again, so buffer overflow can happen like anywhere, man. So for doing buffer overflow attack, your first motive should be you should get this particular crash screen. If you can crash this screen, if you can break our application in such a manner, you can do buffer overflow very easily. So the first thing you have to do is you have to crash the screen. So I'm just speeding up the things right now because I don't want to make you bored. And the answer of the question, which country is having the most of the germs in this planet Earth? The answer of the question is Germany. So I'm so sorry for the answer. I'm just starting like going beyond that. So I have to again restart the particular application and again do the attack. So this was the first phase again, obviously. The next phase we have is we have to check in a kernel to at which level you can say the crash like corresponding to a particular application, at which level the crash is happening. For doing that, we have to find something, and that something is something known as like you can say offset. Offset is a place where our buffers got crashed in a kernel or in a stack, you can say, and after it goes to the later memory addresses. So we have to find out that where it is actually going. I know the people who don't know much of technical buffer overflows, it will be much difficult for you, but please bear it with me. I'll be like able to. So I'm planning to like do a particular YouTube, like you can say blog or YouTube tutorial on buffer overflow. Let me know how many people are interested. Let me know in the comments. And if you, but most of the people say yes, I'll be doing a complete tutorial on how to do buffer overflow attack. Every kind of buffer overflow, whatever I have done on the YouTube part on Hindi, English, and Punjabi, and only these languages. So thank you so much. Please let me know. Just so the next thing we have over here is we have this particular kernel and it's working right now. So I have to understand which level the crash happened over here. So getting that part, I have to again check out code where the exploit was happening. So that code is inside my Kali machine again. So I just go my Kali machine. Perfect. Got feeds. No issues. So and then now exploit.py. Perfect. So as you can see, in this particular exploit code, these people are having that they are sending some junk. Junk. What is junk? Obviously, junk is something which is junk again. So what they are doing actually is they're doing the same thing. Like I was telling before that you have to enter your username as Sanjeev Malpani. What I'm doing is I'm putting something like A's among junk. Now this is not A's they are filling. They are filling something like /x41 and they're filling to 230 number. So what is /x41? /x41 means when you talk about any kind of operation which shows /x41. /x41 means A. So /x41 and A is the same thing. Only the difference is the /x41 is in hexadecimal, and when you talk about these A's, they are in normal key format. So when normal like char set. So what I'm doing is I'm deleting this particular operations which these people have added up over here because they are of no use of me, because this payload is not created by me. Like this is created by the person who has driven out this exploit, the person who have done this exploit for the first time. And this is what I'm like telling you from the first minute, basically, that please write your own code, find your own exploits, so that you can have your exploits with this, and people can use your exploit like I'm using this guy's exploit. So please do that. So further, I know we were having some junk values over here. The junk value is 230. What I do is I make it something like more than 230, make it something like 500, for example. Random guess. I'm just guessing out that whether the application crashed at this moment also, or it doesn't crash at this moment. So what I do is I just save it out again. Again, restart the particular exploit. Python exploit.py, last IP is 192.168.195.159, and I just click on exploit. Once I click on exploit over here, we can see that whether the application got crashed or not. Just wait for a few seconds. And no, the application didn't crash. So why the application didn't crash? Any guesses? Because I guess the buffer size is more than 500 or something like that. Okay, connection failed. So why the connection has been failed? I guess the IP has been changed. No, the IP is same. The connection has been failed. Okay. Let me go through the code again so that we can understand. What editing we have done is, okay, so I guess we have done some mistake. Yeah, we have done a big mistake, not some mistake. I got the mistake which I have done. So not this again, not this again. So I have to execute this code again. So if you can see over here, the biggest mistake I've done is this user, sock.send user, was sending junk plus multiple things. The first thing is I have to remove them. I know they're of no use, but they produce some errors again. And is there any mistake I have done? I don't think so. More of them. So let me try it again now. Okay. Python exploit.py. I just enter the IP again. Exploit. And once I write the exploit part over here. Perfect. Voila. So you found the mistake now. The mistake was I've just put some like variables which is of no use. So always remember, when you talk about Python, there can be two things which can daunt you. Basically, the first thing is you have to understand that you don't have to give more of a spaces, because there is something that is known as indentation error which can haunt you up. And the second is don't use your brain too much, lazy. So the next thing we have to do is we know that the ACE is the this application actually. So you can see this at the EIP. I am having 41414141. Can you guess what is 41? Yeah, your capital A. So when you talk about 41, actually, this 41 is actually the ACE which I've sent from that machine remotely, and this came to this machine at the kernel level, basically. So when you talk about this kernel level, we have this 41414141. If I can send the 41 part, tell me that if I can send a kind of address of open your camera, will it work or not? Yeah, you guessed right, it will work. So when you talk about that part again, you understand that when you talk about this 41 part, you have to change this out according to you, and you have to put a particular applications, like you can say address or something like that. So the next part is, I've sent 500 A's. Now, what A is coming at EIP? Let you for this thing. So I'm talking about that I find out some kind of 500 A's, for example. These 500 A's looks like this. So these looks like this, something like this, and something like this, and they are 500 A's. Now, does anyone from the viewer can tell me that where does this A comes, which comes to the EIP part? Like यहाँ से EIP में आ रहा है, यहाँ से EIP में आ रहा है, यहाँ से EIP में आ रहा है, कहाँ से आ रहा है? Can anyone tell me that? I guess like no one can tell me that because these are A's and they're 500 A's, man. Like they're 500 A's. I've done a buffer overflow where with the buffer size is 87 lakh. The 87 lakh A's. Do you think we can manually count that first A, second A, third A, fourth A, and we go still 500 A's, and then we find out that okay, at this level the A's is crashing. So we cannot do that again. So for doing that, what do we do is like we use a kind of a tool of Metasploit itself. This tool is known as pattern create. This pattern create is a tool kind of a thing which can create a number of pattern according to you, like whatever number of pattern according to you which you want to use. So I just use this pattern create tool, and this tool is okay. So this tool is inside a particular folder. This is user share Metasploit Framework, then tools and exploit. So over here, if I do ls, you will see that there is a tool over here. It is pattern create. So pattern create is the tool which I was talking about. To use this tool, we just go with pattern underscore create, and I just put -h for help. So when you come over here, you can see that it's asked you for a length. Remember a length which we gave 500 A's. Just like that, I'll be giving a pattern. I'll not give A's of this part. I'll give only a pattern of 500. So what I do is I just -l was mirror, and I just put 500 again. So when I put 500 and hit enter, you will see in like few seconds over here that you will have a kind of a pattern basically which is going in this A part. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. See, I'm a magician. So when you talk about this part again, I have those A's over here, and I just copy them out. Perfect. So when I copy them out, remember the exploit code we were having. So that exploit.py. Any guesses where I'll put these pattern in the code? Yeah, you're right. I'll put this pattern in the code in the place of these A's. So I just paste them out and I just save them out. So it's much obvious that the last time we were sending 500 A's and it was showing me at the queuing level. What was the queuing level? I guess you understand what is the queuing. Queuing is EIP. So at the EIP level, it was showing me that we got the we got the A's 414141. Don't you think like if I send 500 this pattern, it will also go to the EIP. It will also go to the EIP again. So my EIP is having 41, 41, 41, 41 over again. If you talk about this part again, so in this like where we have, this pattern will also go to the 41 part. So what I'm doing is I'm just restarting it so that the application can get restarted and it can work out. Perfect. So the application is started over here. The next thing we have is we have to send that code and to check. We have to check that like whether the code is working or not. So I just again go with Python exploit.py. I hit enter, asking for the IP address again. I just enter the IP 192.168.195.159. Perfect. And I click on exploit. Once I click on exploit over here, just check the machine. Let's check the machine. Let's check the machine. So we got the machine over here, and just a sec. Yeah. So we got a kind of address in my EIP level, queuing level again. If you can see that my address at the queuing level is 37684136. 37684136. This is the address which I'm getting. I want everyone who is viewing the video right now to write this address so that you can understand how to do the stuff. So so that you don't get bored again. Another kind of like PJ from my side. So like I want the questions, I want the answers in the comment section below. So the PJ goes like, what does Batman get inside his drink. If you can answer this thing, I'll give you a buffer overflow tag or something like that. So the EAP level we are getting over here is 3768436. Okay, so we got this address over here. I write it down: 37684136. Perfect. So I guess Dushyant, are you here? Can you listen me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, perfect. You can hear me. So, for example, let's understand how kernel works. For example, Dushyant, you are living in a room which is in front of me, and I'm living in a room which is beyond you. For example, we are having a bucket over here or a rack over here. I put a book. I put the first book over here. The first book is A. Then I put a second book B. Then the third book C. Then the fourth book D. Which book you will pick up first?
D.
D, obviously. Then
C.
B and A.
And B,
exactly.
A.
Thank you so much for helping me out.
Yeah.
So the thing which I'm telling you is this is stack.
Stack Overflow.
How kernel works, and this is something which happens in every aspect of kernel. The address you got is this 37684136. But actually, if I give this address to the kernel over here, this kernel will reverse this address into their own operation. So what they will do is, and this thing over here which I'm teaching you, this thing is known as little Endian format. This happens because of stack only, because whatever data gives you, you pick up on the reverse order, or something like that. So when you see this address, what is little Endian format again? So you have to do this, is over here, you have to break this pattern into a group of two, like this, 37684136. I'm doing all of the stuff over here. I guess people can see this. I am highlighting this thing. Yeah. Now, what you have to do is you have to reverse it. So the last parameter I got over here was 36. I just write 36. The next parameter I got was 41. I got 41. The next parameter I got over here was 68. I got 68. And the last I got over here was 37. So I again wrote 37. So this is the first turning point for you. Whenever you give the address to a kernel, reverse it out. The next point we have to do is we have to check that at what level we are having this thing. So how many of you are agreeing on counting the 500 A's? I guess no one. So for doing that, what we do is we use an automated tool again. So this automated tool is created by Metasploit only. And let me get back to my Kali machine. Perfect. Let me know if you have any question. So I came back to my Kali machine. My machine is lagging a bit. I'm so sorry for that.
Not a problem, sir.
Okay. So I again go to that folder, user share Metasploit Framework, then your tools, then your exploit, back to it again. So the last one we use over here was pattern_create. The next tool we are using is pattern_offset, basically. So this pattern_offset over here, sorry, pattern_offset. So when I use this, I don't know how to use it. I put -h again. So they're telling me you have to put a query and length. Query is the same thing which will go to EIP. So what does pattern_offset do with? The by creating. So what we do is use this tool, basically pattern_offset again, and I just put -q. Now we got a kind of an address. I guess you remember that we got at TP level, the queen level again. The address was, remember the address? Anyone? Okay, so does anyone remember the address? What was the address? What was the address? The address was 37684136. Now, you people must be like, sir, we are very intelligent and we know that you have to reverse this address, then you have to enter this address. So I want to say just one thing. Don't be intelligent at this moment, because this tool don't ask this address on a reverse order. It will automatically or automatedly reverse this address on its own. So don't be too smart over here. just enter the address as it is. I told you this thing because so that you can get the understanding, and because we have to change the address at the later moment. So I just put this address again, 37684136. So I just enter this address at this level. I think Q is 37. My machine is lagging. I'm so sorry for that. Just a sec. Let me reverse it out. Come on. Yeah. The address was so the address was 37684136. So sorry guys for this. My machine is lagging a lot. I don't know why it's happening right now. Perfect. So I just write it out again. 37684136. Perfect. The next part we have is we were having the length part. You remember? So the length was 500, which we set. Once we hit enter over here, let it count it on its own basically, and it will tell us where does the actual offset exist. Okay, so we got an offset. What is offset? 230. Now let me tell you what is offset basically. Remember the queen EIP. If we follow the queen, we got every single thing. Just before the queen, we have a particular area to follow up. The size of the area, or you can say the length of the area is 230. That means if we enter 230 A's, we can, the next 231st A will go to queen, or the next 231st character will go to a queen part. So let me check whether it's working or not. So for doing that, what I do is I again get back to my exploit code and I edit this out. So to edit this out, I just do nano again. And after doing nano, the next part is, I guess you people can see the junk part. So what I'm doing is I'm making this junk deleted and I'm creating a new junk. Always remember indentation. Then the next part is I just put, like for example, /x41. What is /x41? You will tell me. Yeah, you were right. Is, and the next thing is I have to put how many A's. The A's was 230, 230. It was the offset. Now after the offset we got over here is we are having some kind of, we want to see that whether it will go to EIP or not. So for doing that, we know X41 is A. Then what will be B? Obviously X42. So what we do is we put BB over here, and we are just checking out whether it will work or not. So for checking it out, I just save it out. Now, according to a program, if a program is right now, it's working perfectly right now. Our EIP should show 42424242, and if it's showing 42424242, then bang on, we are in the machine. So we can like hack the machine then. So what I'm doing is I'm again exploiting this kind of a code over here, and this code is 192.168.195.19, and I go to my Windows machine to check whether it's restarted or not. Okay, so come on. Okay, so I'll just restart the machine again. Oh, I guess my machine is lagging a lot. Okay, so the machine is running right now. Perfect. So I want to check that whether I got B at my EIP level or not. So I just want to check it out. Just a sec. Dishant, how much time we are having right now?
You have all the time, sir. Carry on.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so my machine is lagging out too much.
That's
Can
not a
we
problem.
wait for a minute or two, or so that I can restart the machine out? Till that, I can like hear out some questions from the people
Yeah,
or
definitely,
on the
sir.
computer.
Guys, if you have any
Sure.
questions, please ask in the live chat. Although
So I'm just
we already
starting my
have some
machine.
questions.
Let me know the and the answer for the
Yeah, no,
for that part.
nobody got the answer, sir. If you could tell us.
So the answer was, please don't be mad on me. What does Batman drink? Like gets on his drink. The answer is just ice, justice.
Good
So
one,
sorry
sir.
for the
Good one.
answer. So I
So,
hope you are not mad at me.
not at all, sir. So, Mayank Singh is asking if we are on encrypted medium like Signal chat app. Can this be
Yeah,
happened?
can this be a sorry?
I mean,
Can you
he is
please?
asking if we are on encrypted medium like Signal chat app. Can this be
Okay.
happened? I mean, can we try this thing on that?
Yeah, we can do that. See, it again depends on what kind of encryption and what kind of encoding these kind of channels are using. If these channels are of using, for example, a kind of like base 64 encoding or kind of MD like encryption or something hashing algorithm or something like that, then yes. If they are having something like more kind of advanced kind of encryption like technologies like SHA-512 and they're having they're using RSA, SHA-512 and multiples with advanced encryption standard like only, then it will be more of a difficult part again. But in this, like according to my like you can say expertise or my you can say like I have done in cybersecurity, I didn't say anything that this is like hypothetical or something like that. So yeah, it can be possible again, but depends on the encryption algorithms. I hope you got the answer.
There's one question in my mind, sir. I mean, since you are the cybersecurity expert, I just want to know what is the biggest challenge in the cybersecurity industry right now?
Very good question. So, when I talk about cybersecurity industry, the biggest challenge which people feel right now is exposure. Like most of the people right now knows the stuff. The people who know the stuff, they are having the skill set, but they're not having a platform to show that. Further, I remember like when I started like 8 years ago when I started my career in cybersecurity, it was something like when I was starting my stuff, I was having the skill set, I was having every single thing, but I was not having the job opportunities or the platform to show it because I was newbie again. And cybersecurity is still a domain where people in India is having some kind of a myth or a methodology or something like that. That cybersecurity is a very bad domain. So it's not like that, and people are having a very good amount of money in cybersecurity. It's a good, you can say, pretty good amount of money in cybersecurity. I'll not say the name or take the amount or something like that. But it's pretty good, believe me. That you can like live a like posh life or something like that. So it's something like that, and people can go with cybersecurity amazingly. So the like struggle which people face right now in cybersecurity is extreme. So for that, people should come forward and like start their own channel, YouTube channel or something like that, or start doing the things like bug bounty hunting or something like that, getting their own series, for example. This will help them a lot. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Any other
Any
question?
other questions? Let me just.
Biggest challenge is
The
human
chat is
factor,
crowded with a
stupidity.
lot of
Yeah,
messages.
stupidity is
Let me
one of
just
them,
mute it.
and more of them.
Biggest challenge is human factor. I mean, Mayank Singh is saying.
So this is something like when you talk about like cyber security, for example, most of the people like we have a methodology known as social engineering. Social engineering is something when you hack people and their mind. For example, like Stud and Dushyant, you are a good friend of mine right now, and I guess you believe in me. And I send you a link. See, this is the link, and you click on this link, and you'll get some, like for example, some cashback or something like that. So you'll say, okay, man, like, or you'll get some Netflix subscription for 3 months, or in like you can say in a COVID-19 time. Who is the person who will not go for that? Everyone will go for that. When you click on
Obviously.
that particular link, you will be getting like hijacked by me, or your device is getting like hooked by me. So when I talk about cybersecurity, basically, more of a thing is like cybersecurity is, and like human factor is more of a thing which is the biggest vulnerability or biggest leak which happens in day-to-day life. What do you mean by this? Basically, is when you talk about like human factors, more of a thing. To hack people is more easier than to hack machines right now. Why? Because machines are smart. To be honest, When you talk about for example, your Linux machine, your Windows machine, or I should not say Windows basically, but when you talk about your Linux machine, your MacBook or something like that, MacBook especially, they're much smarter than people, too smarter than people. So to hack a person is very easy. Okay, thank you.
All right, sir. So Mayank is still asking. Let's say if we do not know about the encryption, because I'm sure nobody is going to tell us what kind of
Okay.
encryption they are applying.
See, this can be done by multiple. The first way we can do is we can intercept the network signals by using Wireshark, TCP dump, or we can use multiple kind of application again. Kane enable used to be a kind of application which we used a long ago. Right now, Wireshark and TCP dump are most of the good application. By using them, we can understand and Colas of packet builder. Yeah. By using these three applications, we can intercept some packets, sniff some packet, and then we can understand that what kind of encryption technologies they are using. First way. Second way, reverse engineer the particular application. For example, we have the application. Right now, people was asking about, like lately people were asking me about like Arogya Setu app. Like, most of the people were asking me that Arogya Setu is safe, it's not safe, multiple things. Some of my friends were posting videos that see Arogya Setu is government app. Who will hack you? Government will hack you. Government will see you. Government is having your data. Understand one point. Government will not hack you. If they are hacking you, but they will kill you. Number one, not the first. So the first thing is government will not hack you. The point is when Arogya Setu is using by multiple people, it can be possible that I also got Arogya Setu app. Now I am a reverse engineer specialist. What I do is I open the Arogya Setu app. I debrief the APIs. For example, I got their encryption standard. I take it up and I'm into their database or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now who will tell me that what government is hacking you or like you are making yours hack? This is something which happens like before in Aadhaar application. Aadhaar is, mobile Aadhaar application where people can get their Aadhaar card on their mobile phones. So in that application, what people can do is they can download the Aadhaar card. There is a French hacker who have hacked around 60 million, I guess, 60 million or 70 million Aadhaar cards till yet. And that guy is having an alias Elliot Elderson. That guy hacked an Aadhaar application. Now, people, you tell me that is government is hacking you or the people who are using those applications. So you have to understand
So basically,
that
our data
whether
is
when
not
you
safe,
use this
right?
when you use this mobile phone name, do you know 90% features of this thing? I say 90%. People will say no. Obviously yes. So when you talk about this part, you have to understand that how these things work. Any other question?
Yeah. So Mayank Singh again is asking why human are the biggest factor because they do not have proper knowledge regarding the technology.
Uh, you're right, actually. So when you talk about human based sector, because IS awareness is lacking them like a lot. You go to like some competitor for giving some IS awareness things and I give them a link. Please join by this link, or I give them a link like please click on this link and tap local or something like that. Once they click on a link, their machine got hacked. Now they blame me that you are hacking our machine. So it's something I'm giving them the first lesson that please don't believe in someone blindly. When you talk about the technical part, never believe on someone. So this is the only thing teaching to do. My machine is up by the way. So I'm just connecting back to Zoom. If you are having other questions, please let me know.
Yeah, I mean, some people are asking this. Kuch Janlo asked, please after this application, can we expect a SL mail buffer overflow today?
So for that again, buffer overflow is a big topic. So for that, let me know if you want me to start a YouTube or kind of a tutorial or something for that. Because
I think
I'll
your
start
fans will love it.
you can say 40 hours program for buffer overflow, and this will teach you the complete buffer overflow now completely. And I'll teach you how to hack what also. Sure, definitely.
All right, sir. Any more questions,
So,
guys? Please ask if you want. Your machine is up, right, sir?
Yeah, my machine is up. I'm just connecting it out.
All right.
So till then, let me ask you the next. So it's a joke or something like that. So okay. So please don't kill me after listening to this thing. So Hiroshima went for a singing competition and they lose. You know why?
No.
Guys, do you know why they lose a singing competition? Because Hiroshima Nagasaki. So sorry for.
It's good
I
one.
guess you can get this. Yeah. So I'm connected and
Also, guys, tomorrow we are having an Instagram live.
I'm sharing my
So if you guys want to
screen back
watch
again.
it, you can. I'll share the description link in the description.
Can you see my screen right now?
Not yet, sir.
Not yet.
Now it's starting.
Uh, okay, perfect. Perfect. So my machine is up again. I check my IP back again, and I'm good to go. Sorted. So what I do is again go back to my particular code, linuxpy, and my code is good to go. Perfect. So I have to check that whether I am having this BBBB at EIP or not. Anything which I want to check right now. So what I do is I again dash the application into my debugger and perfect. FTP server again, back again. So my machine is running up perfectly. Now I again start with Python exploit.py. I just enter the IP. IP was 192.168.195.159, and I just click on exploit. Click on exploit. Boom. So I got something over here. If you can see my screen very carefully, till over here at EPP level or something like that, we got the data. But at the EIP level, if you see the EIP carefully, EIP is having something that is 42424242. This 424242 means B, 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 B. That means now we can control the EIP. This is the best thing we can do. Now the next part. For the wave 4. The wave 4 tells that we have to find out the address. What kind of address we need? So what I need is, I am having some evil thing in my mind. So I want to hack your machine. I want to open your camera, or I want to open your microphone, or I want to see your contacts, or I want to check your WhatsApp messages, or I want to see your images or something like that. What I want to do? I want to do every single thing about them. I want to do all of them. So for doing that, I want to have a remote connection of your machine. So for that, I want to find the address. This address I am finding out by using a tool. This tool is created by a company known as Corelan, Corelan. They have a website known as corelan.pe. This tool is known as Mona. So we call it Mona G with respect, basically. And I use Mona now. With Mona, I just write out some kind of addresses. So some kind of operations. So I'm just finding out some modules first. What kind of modules I can find out. I'll give this explanation of this thing because this will take hour or two if I started explaining this thing right now. So I'll explain this thing later on. So over here, I can find multiple kind of DLLs over here, which is connected with this application. I want to find out a kind of DLL which is having most of the thing false like this. So is this a DLL or kind of EXE? Let me check again. I guess this is a EXE. What is this? Yeah, this is the EXE. So I have to find out where ASLR is true. Okay, most of the places we have ASLR true. So let me tell you what is ASLR. ASLR is a kind of protection which Microsoft uses for their own systems or something like that. And they use it so that no one can do overflow. Let us try that we can do that or not over here. So it can be 50-50 chances again. If it doesn't come right now, so please bear me now. So I'm just trying out that whether we can have the buffer overflow part over. So I'm just going through a particular DLL, which can be OS DLLs. There are multiple DLL. Let's take a DLL, which is, for example, this MSTTF. I take this, so I just take this DLL over here, and this DLL is having an MTTF.dll. I want to find out the address from this DLL basically. So I just write a command over here, mona find -s. Now I just put assembly operation over here, xx /x e4. This is for a particular pointer which I'm doing over here. This pointer is known as ESP. From this moment, I can understand this that 80 or 90% of the things will go out of mind like this. So please bear me out. The next thing we have to do is I have to put a particular DLL file. The DLL which uses msctf.dll. So I just write msctf.dll and I just hit enter. So once I hit enter over here, I found 20 pointers. This is great. This is the thing which I'm on. So this is the thing which I'm on for hacking this machine or to get this machine. So I just got this pointer, and this pointer is 74BF or something like that. So I got this address. I just copied this address into map. So when I copy this address, it's looking like so. This address is this, and for example, I want to send this address to the kernel from my end, and the kernel is at that end. So for example, I send to the kernel A, B, C, D. What will kernel choose first or something? I pick up first. Obviously D. Then they will choose C. Then they will choose B. Then they will choose A. Just like that, what I'm doing is I'm segregating this thing and I'm making this into a reverse order. It is Endian format. So in little Endian format, what I'm doing is I'm just putting AF8F14 BF74. This is the thing which I'm doing, and I'm making them into address format. So this is the address /x. Symbol looks like this, honest /x /x and /x. I can put /x. There are things which I can do. Now I'm in fifth wave. Fifth wave over here is something known as the shell code. Shell code is something by which we, for doing that, what I'm doing is in this machine, basically the machine I'm having to hack. Sorry, in this machine, what I do is start the Metasploit framework. So I guess I'm disconnected. I'm connecting back again. Just wait a second. Can you hear and see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, I guess I got some internet issue. I got disconnected. Just.
Meanwhile, sir, if you want to answer a question, Imanshu Soni is asking, what is crypt analysis and why should you include it in the risk management?
Okay, so crypt analysis is basically a domain meant for cryptography assessments. In cryptography, we have multiple kind of encryption going on. Crypt analysis is the kind of domain where you find out that how cryptographies work, what are the key stuff for cryptography, and perfect. And how can you like particular
Sir, your voice is echoing.
Yeah, sure. So the cryptography assessment is something like where you have to understand like how the cryptographic mode work on, and you have to understand that how you can decide the private keys stuff. For example, you have more kind of like services like SSH. SSH is having public key, private keys, multiple factors. So for that part, basically, when you talk about SSH, you have to decipher the SSH keys to connect with SSH illegally, not legally format. So for doing that, crypt analysis is the biggest factor which can help you out. Now people play CTFs. CTF is capture the flag. there are some kind of games which people play in cybersecurity domain. So when we talk about CTF kind of a thing, crypt analysis and cryptographies are the major thing which we work on right now. So crypt analysis is a good thing. You can do that. So I just come back to the topic, and what I was doing, yeah. So I was creating the shell code. So I'm going with the next framework over here. This framework is known as Metasploit Framework. For that, the first thing is I have to initiate the Metasploit. So I am having the Metasploit Framework right now in my machine. To check the version of that. The version is, I guess, I'm using the latest version right now. I guess that, and I'll be using different tools for that too. First thing is doing I'm just initiating the particular database for Metasploit, just doing my MSFDB in it. It's a kind of a tool which start a database for Metasploit basically, so that we can hack easily. So this database is installed inside our machine itself. So I'm using this version of MSF. It doesn't matter which version you're using. You just have to hack the person. So the next thing we have to use is we have to create a particular shell code. So the shell code which over here is by using a tool known as MSF. So you people can see this tool, like how to use this, and write the command like how to create a code to hack a particular machine. So what I'm doing is I'm just using MSF-nm-p Windows interpreter. Metapreter is a kind of a thing which means we got a particular, you can say, connection of a remote connection of a particular machine. So Metapreter reverse TCP. So I'm taking a TCP connection, not a UDP connection. Why TCP? Because TCP is more stable. The next is lhost. Lhost means my IP. It means by which IP you want to connect. So this IP is 244. Perfect. So just go with lhost. Then lport. Lport equals to, my port number is 1337. 1337 is a port number which basically hackers use. It's known as a lead port. If you are having this port in your machine, please understand that you are in a big trouble. So please don't use this, don't see this port in your machine. If you see that, then disconnect every internet connection. Because no other platform or known platform uses port. Only hackers use this. The next is we have -f. So the writing out is in Python, so I just write in Python. Now I'm creating variable. So this variable I'm creating over here is something like numout, for example. So this is a variable name which I'm creating. The next part is I have to again define a port number to this. So the port number is again 1337. It's a variable initializing again. So the next is I have to define a particular NOPs for this thing. NOPs is something which meant no operations. This is something which will deserialize the kernel, so that the kernel, if the kernel you can say break out into two or something like that into a system, this will not meet that breakout. It will continue the program into execution loop. It's something like that. The next phase we have to put a you can say architecture. So the architecture is x86, and I'm putting a platform over here. Platform is Windows. Okay, so I'm done over here. The next thing I have to do over is I have to use an encoder. So there is an encoder. I know most of the people, 90% of the people will be like, sir, what are you writing over here? This is alien technology. This is not alien technology. So this is just you can say a small thing which you can learn in hour or two or something like 1 hour or 2 hours, something like that. So this is not alien technology again. I'll give you a brief intro about these things later on. So the next phase, I have to use an encoder. So I don't know what type of encoders I'm having. So for I'm just going with MSF Venner -list encoders command, so that I can find out every encoder using in my machine, and I'll be having multiple encoders again. Encoder which is very well known. This encoder is known as Shikata 9. This is the encoder which we can use basically, and this is in excellent state. So you can use this encoder because this is more of a excellent encoder. So I just put this encoder over here and -b. Remember bad character word? There was a word like bad character. There is a word like bad character, which means if this character come to your machine or something like that, your machine will not work properly. So this is something like null volume. So I'm just removing these characters so that your machine will not have this /x00/x0a/x0p. These are the bad characters which usually come into people's devices, and I'm just removing them. And voila. So I'm creating a particular payload or the shell code for this thing. Let us see that we can hack this machine or not. Very nice. So we are having a payload. If you can see this payload, can you see the name of the payload? The payload name is Lamao. So I just choose this payload to hack the machine, and we have the successful. So I did this payload, and I just put this payload on basically at the exploit code we people are having. So I just come over and before this junk. Okay, so I'm in a big issue basically because there's an indentation error problem. So I have to indent every line according to this. This is a problem you will face in Python. Please be aware of this thing. If you just run the code like this, it will create an issue. So we have to creative also like this. So now you understand what kind of people we are. We are the people who like live with this screen with green and white fonts on. So this is the screen below and we work on. If you want to like continue your career into cybersecurity, anyhow you have to like you have to get in love with the screen or change the screen again. So you have to do anyhow something like that.
So can't we use an ID for it?
Yeah, we can use that too. But it will still create some issue because when you change the text editor or something like that, okay. It will change the indentation part in most of in Kali Linux. Right, so I got the particular payload over here, and this is the payload which I'm having, and I'm having the junk. So what I have to do is, the first thing I have to enter is I have to enter some junk till EIP level, till the queen level. Once I get to the queen, I have to give the address to a queen. That address will be of something which we find out from the previous part, you can say, which you don't understand. I understand. So that address I have to put over here. So you have to put an address over here, and with the address part, next thing we have to put over here is a payload part. So once these all things are in set together, what will happen is first in a kernel stack, the first junk will happens over here. The junk will in filling inside a particular buffer part or the EBV part. With that, we have the we have the address part. So we have to put an address in a kernel that what type of thing we have to execute. So with that, the next thing we have is we have the payload, so that can execute the thing which we want to execute. So these are the things which we want to like shuffle out each other when you want to do the buffer overflow part. So I can bet right now that 50% of the people doesn't get anything which I'm talking about. I know it's not alien technology part, but I want you people to know alien technology. Like this is just a small thing again. I'm not doing some big stuff. So just understand the logics of kernel assembly language and you will learn this out. It's very easy. So this is done, completely done. The next thing is I'm in the sixth wave. So this is the last 5 minutes of buffer overflow. If it will work, it's amazing thing. If it will not work, please don't blame me out of something because ASLR is on right now. So ASLR can stop us again. Windows is also having few securities, so they can stop us again. So what I'm doing is I'm running MSF console. MSF console is Metasploit Framework. Metasploit Framework is basically used to hack Windows, Linux, Android, Mac, or you can say cameras, any service, any port number, or you can say IoT devices again. Anything. For this part, this Metasploit, and they are giving us a hard, perfect thing. Now, what I'm doing is I want to use a particular exploit over here. So this exploit is something known as multi-handler. Multi-handler is the name given to this particular exploit module because at the same time it can have 49,000 machines basically. And this thing is written in Metasploit Framework documentation. This multi-handler can hack 49,000 machines in a single go. So for this thing, it is known as multi-handler basically. So it's a nice name. The next thing we have is we have to put some things over here. So we have to set payload over here. First, the payload we used at the previous time was this. So I'm just copy pasting the thing again. Nothing like alien technology. I have to set L host. This is the L host. L host is my IP. And for just for a few seconds, and I have to set L port again. So understand what is happening over here. My bad. Perfect. So understand what is happening over here. I'm hacking that machine. What I'm doing is I'm sending a data to the kernel. Now, when I'm sending the data to the kernel, that machine will reverse back and connect with my machine right now. When it will come back to my machine, there is no one in my machine to open a gate. It's something like you are asking your friend to come to your house and you're not opening up a gate. Now what will happen? The police will beat him up because you have to be stay at home right now. You cannot roam around basically. So the same thing like that. When you talk about exploit multi-hack part, what this is doing is it is opening a gate or a port number inside a machine so that the victim machine can reverse come back and connect with our machine. So this is something known as reverse shell. Reverse shell is you send a particular command to a victim machine and they came back and connect to our machine. So this is how exploitation happens majorly. So what I'm doing is, and remember socket, the socket I was talking about. This is socket. Socket means IP and a port. Okay, machine having is so before the conclusion, the lesson or the last PJ of the day. I'm so sorry for this again. So just listen out very carefully. Why was the cell phone wearing glasses? Best answer will win a like from me. So why was the cell phone wearing glasses? Any answers, please? So what I'm doing is my code is ready over here. My payload is ready over here. With my payload, my junk is perfectly set. I am having the address and Lamau. What is the mistake I have done over here, or the remaining thing which I have not put over here is the address, because I have to put the address over here, not the address written like this. So remember a keyword which we find out, little Endian part, एक address निकाला था हम लोगों ने. So what I do is I choose this address, I copy them out, and after copying them out, perfect, I paste it over here. Why I'm pasting it over here? So that first the command will go to the address and then it will reverse back. Now what I'm doing is I'm just making it a variable initialization way so that it can connect easily. Now what I'm having is first I'm having a chunk till the queen EIP. After the EIP, at EIP level, what I'm sending a kind of address. After address, I'm sending a payload which will connect back to a machine. So this is the only thing which I'm sending over there. I'm saving this out and we are at the last stage. So let us try that whether it will work or not. If it will work, well and good. If it will not work, please don't be angry at me. So I just restart the complete application. Application is running. I just restart the debugger again. Why I'm running the debugger? To show you that how the data comes inside the debugger. How the data comes inside the kernel part. The file attach. I'm having the application, FTP server, attach, view executable, FTP server attached, and what I do is I just click on play so that it can get played. You can see that it's running right now over here at this place. So what I'm doing is I'm again coming back to that machine. My MSF is working, my export is done, every single thing is done. So I just run this and enter. Okay, my bad. So it's asking for the IP address 192.168.195.159. Again, like this, and click on exploit. So my payload has been sent it over there. Let us check what happened to that machine. Very nice. If you can see carefully in this machine right now, you will see that my status of the machine is paused. What do you mean by paused? Paused means it was running earlier. If you remember, it was running state earlier. So that means some data of mine from my backup machine has to the victim machine part. The next phase, it is showing something like add. What is this add? This add means that I have added some payload from my machine to that machine. I just have to check whether it's working or not. So if it's working, well and good. If it's not working, come on, man. It didn't work. After 1.5 it worked. So look, koi nahi. It happens sometimes. Slur is something which is stopping me to do the attack right now. I guess it's Windows Defender right now, which is stopping to do the attack. So I'll be having some, like you can say, connection from that machine, it will be showing me over here that Metasploit session opened or something like that. And at this place over here, it will show me some Metasploit part. And so that means I can connect to that machine. I can open the webcam of that machine. I can do this kind of stuff. So like I'll show you this later on, like any other time. But I'll show you how to bypass ASR. It's a big. So thank you so much for listening out for 1.5 hours. If you have any questions, please put them down, and please give a like to the video. And thank you so much for bearing me out. Please let me know for any questions. Let me check for the questions too.
Well, that was an exceptional session, sir. I mean, it was intuitive, it was informative, and it was incredible.
And it was alien technology. I know. Thank you so much.
To be very honest, a little bit of it was overwhelming, but yeah, in the end, we learned a lot, and I hope our viewers have learned a lot. And if you have any questions, please ask in the live chat sections. As I can see already, there are a few questions, and
yeah, sure.
So it's not a question; it's a statement and then a question. Mayank Prakash Singh is asking: main problem occurs in bad characters. This is a big issue. How to resolve it?
Bad characters, actually you have to manually find it out. Like, what is bad character? Let me show you. So I guess my machine is visible right now. My screen is shared. So bad character is kind of a, let me show you in my Kali machine. So bad characters are perfect. Nano bad characters. Bad characters are something less. If you see this carefully, this is the complete pattern of hexadecimal. This is from /x00, from where hexadecimal begins. So hexadecimal is from 0 to F, you already know. So it goes from 00, if you can see, and hexadecimal is always in a pair of 2. So it goes from 00 till FF. FF, why? Because FF is the ending. So what we do is, we one by one send the bad character to a particular code of a particular kernel, and we find out that whether the bad character is being excluding out or including out. If the bad character is including out in the kernel part, then we don't have any issue. But the kernel is excluding or stopping the program because of bad character, then we have to remove them out. So bad character is a kind of issue, you can say, but it's not a big issue for it. The big issue is ASR, which was stopping me to do that again, and Windows Defender, obviously. Right. Any other question?
Alright, so the last question that I will ask is, it's from Chandar Takshak. He's asking how to know about padding or bad characters.
Padding is something, so padding is something which basically comes, which is a kind of precaution technique, which basically come, this is something like, I call them a gutter, basically. So this is something like whatever thing you send as a payload, it will goes inside the padding part, and it will not goes inside the kernel part. This application was not having padding actually. Why I'm telling this and how I know this, because I've done this application before. So I've done this application a long ago, and it was not having any padding. The padding applications are only from Microsoft, Mozilla Firefox, Rockstar Games, GT5, and PUBG.
Hello?
PUBG was having padding. So these are the applications who are having padding. Any other questions? So I'm seeing the chat right now. Let me know for the questions. 50 people are watching us right now.
Alright, sir. Thank you very much for your time. It was really an amazing session.
Thank you so much, Dushyant. And thanks for inviting me over.
I'll share the link for sir's profile if you guys want to know more about.
So if you want to connect me out on any other platform or something like that, I'll share a very easy tip with you. I guess you already know this trick. So what you have to do what you have to do is, you don't have to click on a link, by the way, because you will be like, sir, you are hacking us or something. So you have to go to a website known as google.com. I guess you know this website, and you have to write something like this and something like this. So when you write it out, you will have some keywords. My internet is, and I'm the guy over here, and you connect it out. You can find me out easily. So just connect me on a social media platform. I'll help you out.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again. Bye. Thanks.
Bye, sir. Have a nice day.
You too.
So the next one that we are having tonight is Mr. Pawan, sir. He is the CISO. Just a second, guys. So basically, he's the CISO of Future Generali India Life Insurance, and the topic he will speak on is risk management solution. So, welcome, sir. Pawan, sir. Over to you. So you're not audible right
Hi,
now.
good
Yeah.
evening all. I hope you can see me now.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay. So I see two people present. Great. So what we will be discussing today. So I will not bore you with the presentation. I don't have any presentation to present.
Not a problem,
What
sir.
we will do. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. So what we will do is we will have a discussion. Uh, how we will have a discussion is you can raise your hand and then the administrator can enable that. And the topic which I'm covering is the risk management. So this is the right time to look at the risk management because under the COVID-19 pandemic, every kind of risk has been tested by the organization. Now, not only we are talking about risk is just one component of risk management. Now, to understand first what is a risk, risk is can be defined as an uncertain event or a condition that occurs and has both positive and negative impact. Right now, when we talk about positive and negative impact, now depending on the scenario and depending on the condition, an organization has to mold themselves to cover that risk. Now, in the present scenario, there are many risks which have been covered by many organizations. Now, if you are working, you might have experienced the similar scenario, similar condition in your organization and in your day-to-day life as well. You will be experiencing doing a risk management only. For example, taking precaution while going out. When you are going out and picking up stuff as household items, you are taking certain precautions. So when you take precautions, those are the risk mitigation which we do, and that's what every risk management professional in the organization does the job for the organization. Now, what kind of risk do we look at when we consider the risk management? When we think of risk management, it could be an operational risk, it could be a financial risk, it could be a reputational risk, it could be a strategic risk, like could be a country risk which PM Modi looks at. Environmental is another aspect which everybody looks at, and those are the things which we have to look at and then work accordingly. The risk plan has to be created, has to be created as per the condition and as you go. This is something which you can't plan. This is something which you have to observe, experience, and then take a call on. Right? Now, there are how you do the risk management. The risk management is done. Start with the risk identification. Then you measure the risk, do a factoring there. Then you draft a plan to manage that risk. Then monitor and mitigate that risk. Why it is called a risk and why there is no ending of that risk? Either you can mitigate and or it could, or you can patch that one for a time being. Like why we are finding a medication for a COVID uh, virus, so that in case it occurs in future, we can patch that out, right? That's what we do in risk management. Uh, so a formal introduction has not been done of the people who are attending the conference. So I don't know whether you guys are working or you guys are student at this point of time. Asad,
Sir, most of them are students actually.
oh, that's great. So okay, so since the audience is low, we can ask this question. So how many of you have read risk management? Any hands to raise? No hands. Great. Now, coming back to the situation today, now every organization, like I mentioned, that they have to take a risk and do a mitigation as and when you move forward. Say, for example, today, today we have seen that there are many things which an organization has go through, and many organization changes their strategy as and when move forward. So when we say move forward is while looking at the risk every day, we look at each and every aspect of the condition today and prepare our strategy accordingly. That how does it move? How what we shall be doing next to control that. Just give me a second here. I got a jerk in between. Oh,
Ignore that, sir.
okay.
Although I do have some questions regarding risk management, so if you would like to enlighten me on that. I mean,
Absolutely.
what are the company's top risks when it comes to cybersecurity?
See, when you come to cybersecurity, when you talk about cybersecurity is just one aspect of risk management. And also, I'm getting in between questions.
Don't bother the questions. I will answer those questions later on. You carry on with the session.
So, so when we talk about risk, cyber risk is just one component, just one part of the risk management. So when I talk about risk management for an organization, there are many aspects which I talked about has to be looked at. It could be environmental factor which needs to be looked at. It could be financial risk which needs to be looked at. It could be operational risk which could be looked at. It could be strategic risk which needs to be looked at. Cyber risk is just one part of the operational risk, which has a subsection of IT and IT. Under IT, the cyber risk comes. Now, when we talk about cyber risk mitigation plan has to be drafted depending on the severity of a vulnerability which has been found. So that's why if you look at it, we do the risk management. If you have gone through NIST 830, you do a risk management, define your strategy, put a mitigation plan, and then accordingly you take it forward. And that is how you define the risk and mitigate that. Take an action. First identify, plan, monitor, and then take an action. That's how you work on a risk.
Also, sir, who owns the top risks? I mean, in that perspective.
From cyber risk
Yeah,
perspective,
yeah. From
see, again, it again depends on environment to environmental environment. Like today, if we talk about cyber, the top risk, there are phishing attacks which are happening, which are the top priorities of for any organization. There are not only email phishing attacks which are happening. There are phishing phone attacks. You might have heard recently the bank fraud attacks which are happening
yes, sir.
after the RBI has come up with a monetization plan. So These things are already active. People are looking into it, and people are planning, putting their mitigation strategy to control that out, making spreading more awareness, making people aware of, making spreading awareness, and making ensuring that people should not get into a trap of it. That's one aspect of it. Similarly, if you look at it under COVID-19, there are so many domains which have registered. If to give you a numbers, there are more than 2 lakh domains under COVID, with COVID words have been registered in the past 1 month. Now, why they have been registered? Does every country or every individual requires that domain? No, they do not. But these are the platforms through which threat actors are trying to attack individuals and trying to extract money from them, and that's how they do. That's what they do today.
Yes, sir. So we have another question. Abhinav Dubey is asking how to start in risk management and what kind of issues we can face.
Okay, that's an interesting question. So risk management started it. So risk management starts with identification. So first you need to identify what is the risk and then what you want to mitigate, what you want to overcome with. Now, to give you an example, you want in today's scenario, everybody is sitting at home. People are worried about their household items. So you decide to go out and get your household stuff. To do that, what all you need to do to ensure that you do not catch that virus. That's how it works. In the organization as well, we look at the rest. For example, we looked at this COVID 19 before any other insurance company did in the industry. We started work from home a week before everybody else started, right? So that's the job of risk is identifying proactively what should be done and what we should do to ensure that we should not fall a trap in the trap of a risk. Coming back to the example which I gave, when you go out, when you want to buy grocery, you plan, you decide that you will have use or keep hand sanitizer with you. You go to the place, you ensure that you wear a mask. When you come out of the after buying the grocery, you ensure that you sanitize your hand, come home, keep the stuff away for a time being today. And I'm talking about in today's scenario, and then ensure that uh, by the time you start use the product, it should be bacteria free, right? Similarly, that's what we do in the organization. We look at each and every aspect. We look at each and every stage of risk. Today, in the present scenario, we look at risk every day. How we have what we have done so far, what we have achieved so far, and what we are going to do next. When I say next, it could be tomorrow, it could be day after. Like today, we are planning that how we should open offices after third in case government allows. That's how we look at risk, and that's how we check and we plan our action. That what we should do next after a certain stage. We all see every risk has one priority, which is ensuring that none of the individuals should get harmed. Whether it is, when I say individual, ultimately it impacts an individual, but risk is within the organization at different stages. So risk, for example, for an organization, the risk should be that the organization should not get harmed at any stage and uh, should not take a hit at any stage. So what we need to do is we need to plan it accordingly, and that's how we start, we plan, we monitor, and we take corrective steps to mitigate that risk.
All right, sir. So now we have a lot of questions popped up, and
Right?
Nishtha, our moderator, she's asking: are there any organizational blind spots warranting attention?
That's the job of Nishta. That's the job of the risk officer to identify the blind spots and take corrective actions accordingly.
Also, she's asking: how do the Fortune 500 companies articulate its risk appetite and define risk tolerances?
Similar steps, the way I explained, we have to first identify the risk. Before identification, we can't move forward. So first, we have to identify, looking at the hazard and then looking at the hazard and then there will be people to report That's the job of the risk officer, to spread awareness, to spread, to give education to people that how to identify a risk, because the risk officer can't be there at all the places in the organization. So he has to, the risk officer has to educate people in and form a medium to report that risk as well. Identify the risk created by the hazard. So looking at the hazard and identifying the risk created by the hazard has to be the first step. And you have to measure the risk. Measuring the factors of risk by considering uh, anything already in place to manage that risk. Determine the worst credible consequences that could happen. Also needs to be or the important aspect to look at is the consequences and the likelihood of happening. Decide whether the risk is acceptable by the business, or there is a further action needs to be taken. When there is a further action needs to be taken, then it goes to the next step. Then you plan and implement controls to eliminate that risk. And then comes the final step, which is the reporting and monitoring of the outcome. You have to continue so that you can plan your next action.
Also, she's asking, sir, how does the company get prepared to respond to extreme events? I mean, the time like this, when we are having a pandemic like coronavirus, how
Mhm.
do we really prepare ourselves?
See, this this is a force majeure, I would say, because many organizations have not themselves prepared. Like everybody, like every individual thinks that हमारे तो कुछ हो नहीं सकता, but that's not the case. Coronavirus has proved that it is impacting everybody. Everybody is vulnerable to all things. That's the reason if you go back, if you look at it and the way we started the conversation, I told you that this is the right time and this is the most challenging time for a risk officer, because every aspect of risk has been tested in this scenario, and every thing is looked at from the organizational perspective. So the person has to follow the same step, be proactive in identifying the risk, measure the risk for the organization, manage the risk, plan and implement the controls to eliminate that risk, and then keep monitoring that. The way I explained that you have to look at every day as a new day. You have to look at the risk from all the aspects, and then plan it. Then put the control. The way you move forward, you will keep on knowing, and you will look at.
All right, sir. So there's one other question: why it is mandatory to maintain risk register?
See, from IT perspective, it is very important to maintain a risk register, because until and unless you you make a note of the risk, you will not be prepared for future risk. You have to also see that what step you have taken to control that out, because once you have put control, you can anytime refer to that to ensure that it does not reoccur. The job of a risk officer is not to mitigate the risk the moment it is happening. The job of a risk officer is to ensure that the risk should not reappear. And that is why a risk register is very important. Risk register also gives you an insight on the criticality of the risk.
All right, sir. So Mr. Alam is asking, how often does the company refresh its assessment of the top risk?
Uh, it is a continuous process. It can't be so. Risk assessment minimum to minimum has to happen every year. Now, depending on there are certain organizations who does it every 6 months as well. But especially if you're talking about cyber risk, I'm only talking about cyber risk. Pandemic like COVID can't be predicted. This has to be taken as it comes. But the job of a risk officer is to plan it before it comes, or before it impacts the organization. For example, I told you that every day today in our organization we look at risk every day. We make strategies every day. We look at it what action needs to be taken as we move forward, and that's the job of the risk officer, to look at it every day as a risk day, and every day they have to plan to mitigate that risk.
Right, sir. So in future generally perspective, I mean, what sort of action plans
No
you
questions.
take?
Sorry, no questions related to the organization.
All right, sir. No problem. In a general perspective, how you know what sort of action plan we need to have?
See, looking at each and every aspect, like I explained you, the various aspect of various risks which we look at in the organization. So it applies to all the organizations. The job of the risk management department itself is to look at the operational risk, is to look at the financial risk, is to look at the reputational risk. For example, if a database of an organization gets hacked, what is the reputational risk? What is the risk, operational risk? How it is impacting my customer, and what action do I need to take to ensure that my customer at any point of time is not impacted because of any of the incidents which had happened in the organization. So, so all these aspects has to be looked at, and then accordingly a plan has to be drafted.
All right, sir. So Nishta again is asking, how can we integrate machine learning and artificial intelligence with cybersecurity
Very,
and risk
very
management?
good question. There's a very important role because in risk, when you evaluate a risk and when you look at a risk cannot be calculated or can be drafted by of its own, or an individual can't do it. You require uh, data to analyze, and there machine learning and artificial intelligence plays a very important role. So we as a risk officer also are dependent on certain tools which gives us data. How will to give you an example, how will I do a vulnerability assessment if I don't have a tool? Can without Kali I can do a vulnerability assessment? No,
No,
I
not also.
can't. Kali or any other operating system I need. Similarly, to analyze the risk, to do the crunching, number crunching. For example, today finance will look at like uh, if this continues, will I be able to pay salaries of people? If this continues and there is no business, how will they calculate? They will look at the data. They will look at whether I have provisioned that or not. In case it is not provisioned, what do I need to make sure that the people in the organization are not impacted? That's one example. Second example, how will I project my business? Because there are numbers which have been committed to the board members. There are numbers which have been committed to uh, the uh, the investors that I will achieve in this year. Now, looking at the current pandemic, where people can't go out, the sales people are struggling to get business. Now, if that is the scenario, and people cannot go out and sell services or products, how will they achieve their number? They can't. So these analysis will help, tools will help risk officers analyzing that what we should do. Risk officers are also eyes for the organization to provide them numbers which they should look at in future.
So, in an extension to her question, she also asked, does it already exist in companies, or are companies yet to start that? I mean, the machine learning and AI part with cybersecurity.
In some organization, it does. It again depends on the individual to individual who is driving the risk management process in the organization. People have adopted it, and there are people who are planning to adopt it. Now, if you look at it, I mean, not many organizations, but there are tools. We deal with tools every day. Now, every tool has some sort of machine learning inbuilt in it, not to an extensive level, but to a certain level. Now, how a person utilizes that is depend on the individual who is driving this. Without that, without the knowledge, without driving it properly, no process can be achieved.
All right, sir. So, Ayush Russia is asking, does every company or firm has the risk management team to regularly identify how much vulnerability it's facing or might face in future?
No, not every organization has a risk management team, but there are specific. No, so it's not that people don't look at risk. They take it, and there are not specific department of as a risk management in the organization, but there are people who look at risk. I will put it this way. Now, they may not be designated as a risk management, but if you look at it, all the every leadership in the organization act as a risk officer at that point of time. Depending on the size of the organization, there are certain organizations where this particular team has been regulated by the regulator itself, or it is there in the hierarchy of the organization where it is mandated to have a risk team. But there are organizations where people don't have any. If here, the entire management team works as risk officer. They sit, analyze, and take and act accordingly.
All right, sir. So, Mr. Alam again is asking, do individual performance plans include the risk management?
Individual performance plan include risk management. I didn't get this question completely.
He's
This
asking
individual
individual
performance. So
performance
every risk
plans.
officer has been is has to be analyzed. Now, how they are analyzed is they have their own KPI where they have been analyzed, through which they have been analyzed. Uh, it, I mean, that's the only thing I can say on this because every individual has a KPI and they has to be analyzed accordingly.
Okay, sir.
Let
So,
me go back to the previous question, Ayush, Rushia, where you mentioned the vulnerability about in the risk management team as well. So vulnerability, when we talk about, these are the risks which we are talking about. So not particularly one vulnerability which the team looks at. So when I talk about, for example, we were talking about cybersecurity. So cybersecurity, there are many vulnerabilities which get open, which have been notified by your assessor or you yourself assess using multiple tools. There, when you look at the vulnerabilities, though that's just one minor component for a risk officer. A risk officer has a much bigger job. A risk officer has to analyze that what this vulnerability can do for the organization, how much damage it can bring to the organization, and what he has to do to ensure that that damage does not result into any of the component of the risk management component I talk about, whether it is reputational, whether it is operational, whether it is financial, or it is strategic. Any of the damage for the organization.
yes, sir. So Mayank is asking, can we say that every time we include something in the risk register, it should be dealt in same way?
Yes, it should be dealt in the same way. Every risk, every vulnerability has to be dealt in the same way. It's a standard process. There is no prioritization. But prioritization only happen on the criticality. But every risk has to be either treated, mitigated, or accepted.
So Abhishek is asking, how does organizations cope up with risk that come suddenly, just like this pandemic?
Exactly. So when we started the discussion, I told you that this is the right time where this is the time where every organization risk posture is being tested. People who have planned, who have not planned. Every PCP plan has been tested to the extent you can think of. So there are organizations who have planned for it. There are organizations who have not even thought that something like this could happen or could occur to them. So these things are not planned. This is a force majeure, I would say, which has been pushed to every organization, even to the country. We were not ready. You look at it. Our prime minister is requesting to individuals to stay at home, and still, I mean, people are going out. So similarly, in every organization, things happen. So today we are ensuring our organization, we as a CISOs are ensuring that no attack should happen in our organization. But are the attackers stopping? No, they are not. They are building up new attacks and they are trying to push to the. They are trying to attack multiple organizations in the world.
Yeah, right, sir. So, I mean, is there any way we can prevent all these risks? Risks that occur in this pandemic.
Again, okay. Now, when we say risk, so please understand the definition of risk first. When you say that, can we do something to ensure that we are not impacted during this pandemic? Now, there are many things which we can simply start from the awareness itself. I started my discussion when I said that when you go to the grocery store, you take certain steps. So what you are doing by taking those certain steps so that you should not catch virus, you are ensuring that you take appropriate step to safeguard yourself. Similarly, every risk officer analyze the risk and then give it to different departments to ensure that they take right steps to ensure that they are not impacted. For example, uh, let's take an example of a CISO itself, which I am today. I look at threats which comes to me, and there are different sources of threats which comes to me. I get threats from US CERT, I get from certain India body, I get it from different threat intel sources. Every threat has to be analyzed and mapped internally, most importantly, because until and unless you map it, you will not be able to reach to the right source and take appropriate steps. Now, to give you an example, today I don't use Cisco IP phones, but if I get a threat intel for a Cisco IP phone, and will it be any helpful to me? And if I put controls to mitigate a vulnerability which is there in Cisco IP phone, will help me out? No, it will not. That's the job of a CISO and a risk officer to analyze that what impact it could bring to the organization, and then accordingly we plan that what step we need to take to ensure that it should not impact us.
Any other thoughts that you might have? I mean, you want to enlighten us about risk management?
Yeah, absolutely. So risk management is is a critical component in any organization. Especially, you may find this department in BFSI industries. That's because of two reasons. One, the portfolio is very big. Second, it is regulator driven. Third, it is very challenging for because of complexity of the function to cover the entire portfolio of the organization. That's the reason you have to build this team to ensure that they cover. They are your eyes. The risk management team is eyes for the leadership team for the board to give them a true picture of what is happening in the organization.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and it was really an amazing
Thanks,
session.
Ajit. It was nice interacting. I will be online if there are more questions. I sorry, I was not aware of the patterns, so hence I have not prepared any presentation, and we
Not
could
a
not
problem,
speak
sir.
more about
And
it.
I think viewers, some of them really had good questions, and they got their answers.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
All right, guys. All right, guys. So this was Pawan sir from Future Generali sharing his view on risk management, and now we are going to have Mr. Anshul sir. So he's the CEO of UNAC. He's a trainer. He's a motivator. He's a mentor and whatnot. And he will be talking about ransomware. So let me just welcome Anshul sir. Anshul sir, are you there? Hello.
Hello, hi Dushyant. Am
Hi
I
sir.
audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Am I visible?
Yes, sir, you are visible.
Cool. So thanks a lot for letting me know that I'm not a ghost. And okay, so first of all, so I will be talking about some of the basic terms. I don't have any presentation. I'm a guy of demonstrations, and I would love to go with a certain demonstration about a certain industry-driven attack, and after that we'll be talking about our main major topic, that is web vapt. Cool, so let's start with the content part. So let me share my screen. Yep. Cool. So first of all, we'll be talking about certain thing known as cybersecurity, and because so about this global infosec, the theme of this global infosec is virus can be a technological virus. So we'll be talking about those things, that how is that possible that a virus can be a technological virus, and how they can create a big problem in today's technology. So I'm a bit comfortable with the Hindi and English both. So I will be mixing this language, and I will be talking about the main core language of India, the heart of India, that is English. Because each and everyone, they are not comfortable with the Hindi, and most of people they are not comfortable with English. So we'll be mixing this language, and we'll talking about the language that is English. Okay, so coming to the topic that is cyber security. So when we talk about the cyber security, then we go. I mean, we always go with one word, that is cyber attack. A cyber attack is something, when that attack happened with the technology, then we call this as a cyber attack. And when there is a cyber attack, then there is something known as cyber security, which comes in a picture. When we talk about a cyber attack, there's a three pillars where attack can be possible, or these are the pillars where most of the time attack happens. The first one is web, second one is system, and third one is mobile. When we talk about the web, so I think sir has also given a good explanation about each and everything, or maybe Sanjeev has given a good explanation on each and everything, that when an attack happened with the web, so then we have a certain professional of web penetration tester who usually work with the web domain, and they find the vulnerability with the web, and they find the attack which can be possible with the web. Or web means a website, or web application, or web server. So all these things comes with the web part. So we'll talk about those things maybe within seconds. So we are coming to the second part, that is system. You can relate with the system or the network. What is network? Network means a connection of devices, or connection of system. Means when two or more connections and two or more devices are connected, we consider that as a network. You can take example about any company. You can take example about any organization, bigger organization. When we say network, means a company like IBM, a company like Google, a company like Facebook, a company like UNAC, a company like anything. So attack, when we talk about attack, when these attacks happen with the organization, when these attacks happen with the company, then which sort of attack which happens? Then a term comes, ransomware. The recent attack which happened with a one mega big organization or a tech giant company named Cognizant. And that ransomware has created a big problem in this today, in this whole technological world. And that ransomware act as a cyber attack when it's come to the network domain. When we talk about mobile applications, so I think this is most common, each and every people used to carry a mobile. So in mobile, there's a certain thing like Android, and then you have iOS, all of these things comes in the mobile. So what sort of attack which is possible with a mobile? In mobile, there is something known as application which exists. That can be an Android application, that can be an iOS application. So nowadays people attack with this mobile application because we are doing every damn transaction with that application. When we talk about a transaction, it means that from starting of our day, so right now it's a lockdown period, but usually what we used to do, so at the starting of our day we order. So when it comes to me, so I order my breakfast with a Swiggy, and after that I go to my office through Ola or Uber. I mean, each and every perspective, each and every phase of our day, we use something known as application. So people are attacking over the application for getting the data, for getting your transaction detail, for getting every damn thing. And these are the main pillars over the technology in which we are dependent on. And if we are dependent on all of those technology, it means there is something known as threat, there is something known as attack, which is involved in those technology. Let's start with the system and then we'll directly jump over the web. Something known as system. So I thought to choose this topic. Why? Because so the recent hack which happened with the Comagent has created a big buzz in the entire industry that what is ransomware? And what is ransomware? So there is multiple ransomware which exist in a planet, in a world actually, is Petya, WannaCry, then Maze, etc., etc., etc. What happened with the ransomware? What is ransomware? So people who doesn't know what is ransomware, for them, the ransomware is something. So I think you all have watched certain movies of 90s or maybe in the starting of the 20s. So there was one thing which is absolutely common in each and every movie, that there was a guy who gets kidnapped, and after that the people ask certain monetary value. They after that, after kidnapping a guy, they call to their family and they ask certain value, certain monetary amount to release that guy or release that individual. And after that, once they give those amount, then what happened? The kidnapper release those people, or else if they doesn't get amount, what they used to do? They used to kill that people. So right now you can understand that the people, the individual are not so important. You can take example of you or maybe of anyone, right? So each and every time, whenever you call to your parents, you are not getting maximum love which you used to get at a time when there was no technology. So right now, if a certain kidnapper who kidnaps you and they call to your parents and they say that I need 1 crore rupees from you, what your parents will do? They will say absolutely you can keep that. You can keep my son, or maybe this usually happen with the son. I'm not going with the girl side because you can understand that they used to get a good number of men. Okay, so they will say that keep this guy. I don't want, because till now they have not given anything. So I did not got any profit with that. Means your investment. So after that, what happened? So right now, technology became very perspective, very very important part of our life. And if I kidnap your smartphone, and if I kidnap all the data of your smartphone, and if I ask certain amount that you need to pay me a lakh rupee for releasing those amount, for releasing this data, then I'll release this data for you. Then what you will say? Absolutely will give those amount, because that data consists of your personal data, your friend's personal data, maybe your girlfriend's personal data, or maybe anyone's personal data. And you will not allow me to upload this entire things to any place. And same goes with the ransomware. So ransomware can be a link, can be a software, can be an image, can be anything. So what happened with this ransomware? That it comes to one system, and after that, So after that, So ransomware is something. What happened? It can be a software, it can be a link, it can be anything. When it comes to your system, then what happens? It doesn't. It encrypts the data in your system, and after encrypting the data, it asks certain monetary value. That you need to go to this link, you need to pay certain amount, and while paying certain amount, you will be getting one key to unlock this entire system. And the best part about ransomware is it transmits in the entire network. So it comes in your system, and after that it directly transfers from one system to the entire network. When we talk about network, it means every damn system who is connected with that network. The same happened with the Maze ransomware, the same happened with the Petya, the same happened with the WannaCry ransomware. So coming to the certain ransomware, so I will be giving a demonstration of Petya ransomware. So this was a ransomware which has created a huge buzz in the India. So just a second, I'll stop my sharing screen because to copy something. So what I'm doing, I'm just extracting my ransomware because I have logged this ransomware. This is an amazing virus which can destroy the entire it can destroy the entire system, or it can destroy the entire network. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so you can see that I have one ransomware named PUBG Pro Hack. So right now PUBG has created a huge buzz. And what happened if I give this software to someone and if I say that this is a hacking, this is a hack file of PUBG, that once you need to install this file, what you will do, you can hack any of a PUBG, you can hack any of a PUBG game or whatever, so you will get certain good skin and everything. So what will do, the PUBG addict will go and use this software. What it will do, I mean, they will absolutely go and use this software and will try to crack the entire PUBG. So right now I'm connected with the network, so I will disconnect with my network because so when this will transfer into my network, so this is my virtual machine basically. So I'm doing this entire thing to my virtual machine so that it doesn't harm my physical machine. Okay, so I'm disconnected with my system. Why? Because if I'll hack this system with this ransomware, so what will happen? This will get transmitted from my system, my virtual system, to my main system as well, and all the systems which are connected with the same network. Double click, and yes, that's it. So you can see that after a second, my system will restart. So that's it. It means it's a normal exe file. I just double click, that's it. So it is asking certain, okay. So you can see that it is giving a normal notification that is repairing file system on a device C. The type of file system is NTFS, one of a disk contain error and need to be repaired. This may take several hours to complete. This is a normal notification which you guys are getting at the time whenever you are updating your system. So, but in a backend, what this is doing, what this ransomware is doing, this is encrypting the entire file of your system. It means it is encrypting every damn file of your system, and after that, once you are connected with the system, it automatically gets transmitted from one system to every damn system which are connected with the same network. So you can see it's a 37, 38, 40, 41. It hardly takes 1 minute to encrypt this entire thing, and the encryption rate is very high, very high. So Infosec. So meanwhile, we need to understand that right now we are in a lockdown, and this pandemic is very has created a big problem. So in the entire IT industry as well, because right now there's a multiple attack which is going on. There's like 300% increase in a cyber attack. So that attack is increased here in the web, and then networks and each and every organization. So you can so there's a multiple organization which are facing n number of attacks. Cognizant has given a statement in a public, but there's a multiple organization who are facing this type of attack. So 96, 97, 98. So we need to understand that what are security precautions we should take, which we should keep in mind while doing anything over internet. So here you can see that press any key. It is saying me to press any key. If I pressed any key, it is saying that you became a victim of beta ransomware. The hard disk of your computer has been encrypted with a military-grade encryption algorithm. There's no way to store your data without a key. You can purchase this key on a darknet page shown in step 2. It means it is saying that the hard disk of your computer has been encrypted with a military-grade encryption algorithm. This is a certain encryption algorithm which Petya uses. When we talk about WannaCry, when we talk about Maze ransomware, they have a different algorithm. Same goes the virus, same with the biological virus as well. There is certain virus named TB, there is a certain virus named HIV, there is a certain virus named Corona, which came into the existence. They have different algorithm. They have different encryption algorithm. It means the symptom were different. The biological realms, the biological thing of each and every biological virus is different. Same goes with the technology perspective as well. It means the encryption rate, the encryption which is there in this entire and ransomware, it is different. And when encryption is different, it means it is very hard to crack this entire encryption. So it usually takes years and years of years and years to crack one algorithm, one encryption. So if I have cracked this military grade, it means that so I can crack any of the beta ransomware. So just for understanding this thing, just try to understand that download this Tor browser. It is saying to download a Tor browser. If you want any help for downloading this browser, just go with a Google, and then you need to visit this link into the Tor browser. It means this is a link of darknet. So this is the personal decryption code which you need to write, and then you will be getting the key. Then you will be doing a payment, and after doing certain payment, you will be getting a key, and this is something which you need to enter here for decrypting this entire data. So the best part about this ransomware is that it is saying, the major problem about this ransomware is that for each and every data, let's take example for every, if this ransomware came in your system or this ransomware came in my system, it means that the data, the amount which they will be asking, it is different. So that is creating a big problem in the entire technology, or this is creating a big problem over the organization. That if ransomware comes in their organization, it means the data which is there in the system can get encrypted. And that is something which they cannot solve. It means there's a multiple organization which is paying heavy amount for decrypting this entire data. So that is actually wrong. You need not to pay you need not to pay any amount to the organization. What you can do, you can contact to certain professionals, and then you can work on all of those things. And in which, so just a second, let me. Okay. So you can take certain precaution that you don't click on any random link or don't download any software from open source. You can use certain softwares which is a paid one, and through that you can work on anything. Okay. So this next topic which comes is web. I think you guys, sorry, I have not shown my screen. Okay, now a topic which comes is web. When we talk about web, it means it's a website. So what sort of attack which is possible in a website, or what is web VAPT? So when we talk about attacking into the website, it means that the first thing which we need to understand, that is WASP content. So in a website there's a multiple attack which is possible, but right now we'll focus on a WASP topnet attack. WASP is a community which used to see with the which used to see the entire thing into the website, so you can directly go and check that entire thing here. So once you will write WASP, then you can understand that it's a foundation, it's an open web application security project. There's the online community which deals with every damn thing over the website. They used to release the top 10 attack which can be happen with the web, and each and everything with the certain figures. So the first attack, so I cannot cover the entire thing into the practical demonstration, but the first one is SQL injection. In SQL injection, the basic attack is union based, and then the second one is double query. The third one is Boolean based, and in Boolean based there is something known as blind based, and then we have the time based. And then, I mean, in a similar manner, we have each and every type of attack which can be possible. But see, not only the WASP attack which we need to understand for web, there's a multiple attack known as phishing, which has created a big problem because you can patch this WASP token attack, but you cannot patch the attack which can be done through humans. It means the phishing has created a big problem over the entire market. So the web, there is something known as a term which comes, that is VAPT. What is VAPT? So VAPT means vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Vulnerability. What is vulnerability? Vulnerability means, first of all, we need to understand the word name as vulnerability. Vulnerability is something which we can say all the problems. All the problems are what are the loophole which is there in this entire technology. A loophole can be anything. A loophole can be normal loopholes. It can be under WASP, or it can be anything. So let's take example of a building. So in a building, how can anyone who can enter into that building, that can act as a vulnerability. And assessment. Assessment means how critical that vulnerability is. When a word comes assessment, it means that when we talk about a vulnerability can be anything. I have taken example of a building. In a building, a vulnerability can be anyone can enter into the building, but they can only and only enter into the balcony. It means that is a vulnerability, but when we have assessed that vulnerability, that was not a critical vulnerability. So that is something which is there in that. When we talk about a PT, it means penetration testing. After doing assessment, now we'll come to the penetration. That how we can penetrate, how you can exploit, how you can use that vulnerability and you can enter into that building. The same goes here as well. That when you got some critical vulnerability, how you can use that vulnerability and how you can enter into that website or in that web server. Testing means just testing that vulnerability. See, this is something which happened with the web. This is something which happened with the network. This is something which happened with the mobile applications. Each and every damn factors, this is something which happens. VAPT is a major perspective of every damn thing which is happening with the technology. In cybersecurity, if people want to if people want to be professional, they will absolutely go with the VAPT or they will go with the forensics. VAPT is a core area of a cybersecurity. So in VAPT, the first one who are into the technology, they first enter into the VAPT. So they will go with the web, and then they will go, after learning the entire thing with the web, they enter into the network. And after learning VAPT, you can only enter with the digital forensics. It means you should have a knowledge about VAPT. VAPT is very much required for entering into the cybersecurity. So I don't think that I need to give a demonstration with this part, because right now, if I'll go with a demonstration, it will take time, and I will not show the certain demonstration with this, but I'll take certain questions. Dushyant?
All right, sir. So Nishtha is asking,
Cool.
now that everything is being attacked in the cyberspace, how does one trust their safety online?
Cool. First thing which you need to understand that is, so threat can be anywhere. So it can be in a technology, it can be in humans as well. The first lesson which you need to understand is awareness. First lesson which you need to understand is the training. If you are aware about the threat, if you are aware about the technology, if you are aware about the attack, you can manage yourself. You can protect yourself. You can protect the technology. So it means the first thing is a training. The first thing is awareness. If you are aware about everything, you are not to worry about the challenges which you are facing in the technology. Yeah.
The other thing that I want to know is, being a layman, I mean, if I'm not much aware of computers and security, how can I be safe? I mean, if I'm using mobile phone and desktops, being
Mhm.
a layman, how do I make sure I don't get hit by ransomware?
Cool. So if you are layman, if you are using a smartphone. So first of all, if you are using a smartphone, you are not a layman, because right now we through a smartphone we can reach to any point where I don't think that where you need to reach. So for layman understanding, for the layman people, if they are using a technology, they need to understand the criticality which can be possible with the technology. You need to get updated with every news. So likewise, just take example, so nobody has ever taught me that you don't need to carry a cash. But through reading a newspaper, we got to know that we need not to carry a cash, because if we are carrying a cash, there may be someone who used to who can go with a who can pick that cash from, or who can directly attack us and they can take that cash. So it means by knowing the entire thing which is happening with the market, from reading a newspaper, from seeing that entire thing into the television, we got to know. So it means you need to get aware about every damn thing which is happening with the technology.
All right, sir. So Mr. Sumit is asking, what is CIA?
That is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That is something which a company used to follow whenever they are dealing with the data of any user.
So, how do you? I mean, what do you have to say to those who are just starting out in cybersecurity field?
Okay, so the people who are starting in the cybersecurity field, they need to understand that so go with a practical understanding of everything, because if you are learning this entire, if you really want to go with this entire technology, so you need to start everything with a practical oriented thing. You
Right.
need to understand the major part, that is, first of all, you need to understand the networking, and once you get to understand networking at a very good level, then you can move to the cybersecurity field. You can start with the web, then you can move to the network, and then you can move to the forensics, and you can do wonders. And right now, you won't believe that in the entire technology, cybersecurity is the best place where you can fit on. That is something which we need to understand, that so there may be possibility that the jobs can get nobody go and give a jobs in sales or maybe marketing, but when it's come to a cyber security, you will get a job. Why? Because each and every company is facing certain challenge. We are facing a problem with a certain attack, and for that they require certain professional who can handle those attacks.
All right, sir. So there is another question. How safe is Google search in respect to
Google
the
search.
cache stores?
So it all depends, so I don't think that people are browsing some of a dark thing without even using sorry, okay, people are just browsing the entire thing without even going to the incognito. Then we are not safe, man. So it means that if you are doing certain things with a directly going with a Google, so it means that things are getting recorded. It all depends that you use certain VPN for doing certain things, which you think that that should keep secret or something. And for using a VPN, you should always go with a paid VPN. Don't use a free VPN.
What is the difference between a paid VPN and a free VPN?
Cool. So free VPN absolutely works like a proxy. because you have not given any amount. So they cannot give you a free
Is it
server
not
of
safe?
certain place. So it means that it's absolutely same like the software which you are using. So if you are using a crack version of softwares, it means that the people who has given a crack version, so they are the one who used to monitor you. That's the reason people, the companies don't allow people to use a free versions, or maybe the cracked versions. So that's the reason they always give you a paid version to use everything. So always go with the paid version. Same goes with the VPN as well. So if you're using free VPN, it means it acts like a proxy. So the entire thing, the entire whatever thing you are working with that, I mean, while using that VPN, each and every log is something which gets stored with the ISP, and after that, they can all automatically get you can get monitored with that.
All right, sir. So there's another question. Can we go totally anonymous with paid VPN?
No, I cannot. But absolutely, you will be like 90 to 95% you are anonymous, but not with 100%. Why? Because if someone will say that, can I be a Mr. India? Absolutely not. You cannot be, because you don't have that watch. So you can sit any place, and no one can see you, but there are certain walls. There will be certain society who will see you. So the same goes with here as well.
All right, sir. So there's another question. What is a DDoS attack?
DDoS attack.
DDoS,
It's not DDoS.
okay.
It's DDoS
DDoS
attack.
attack.
So when there will be maximum packets which can be thrown into a certain website, then what happens? That website faces. Just take example. If I give you a certain task, like your capacity of doing certain task is 10 tasks per day, and if I assign you like more than 100 tasks in one day, then what you will do? You absolutely will say no, because you cannot do the same thing. You cannot do that task. Same with the website. So if a website is getting more than a million hit at one time, then what will happen? It means that there will be something known as DDoS attack, in which that website will get crashed.
Okay, sir. So there's another question. What is the importance of DNS monitoring?
DNS monitoring. So that's a good question. So what happens whenever you are just monitoring the entire DNS? It means you can monitor the entire logs which is happening over the DNS. So it means each and every people who are accessing the entire things, you can regulate the entire things.
Okay. So there's another question by Miss Ananya Pandey. Is there any future job for in this industry? If available, then how much?
Okay, so right now there's a current opening of 1.5 million jobs, which is there in cybersecurity industry. But what happens? People are not able to avail those opportunities because they are not skilled enough to regulate this entire industry. So the people who are skilled enough, they are not. They are not here. So they are working with certain companies. So what happens? The people were like that. We know we know certain things, but we don't know that thing practically. So that was a major challenge which happened in this entire industry. So when we talk about a web, the people who are there in this domain, if they are not skilled enough, they absolutely don't know how to use a burp shoot even. So they understand something known as softwares in which they are doing a BAPT. So that will not work unless you don't have the manual understanding about each and everything. So if you understand something at a very good level, then you can do certain things.
So there's one more question. Can ransomware encrypt an unencrypted hard drive?
Yeah, come again.
Can ransomware encrypt an encrypted hard drive?
Absolutely. So it will encrypt the entire data. So it means that whatever data which will be there, it will encrypt that data with the encryption which is in the encryption algorithm which they are using.
All right, sir. So there's another question. What is the difference between a threat, a vulnerability, and a risk?
Risk. All these have a separate meaning. When we talk about risk, means risk can be anything. Risk can be a certain problems, which can be there in any technology. So that can be a normal problems, a critical, or it can be any sort of problems. So if you want, you can relate with your own self that what sort of risk which will be there. So once if you're going outside of your building, there may be a risk that police will come to you, and you will get beaten. It means there's one risk, same with the technology, a critical, a normal risk. So risk factor differ from place to place, technology to technology. And the second one is a threat. When we talk about a threat can be from an employee. That threat can be in a form of the technology perspective as well. But when we talk about a vulnerability means a problem which is there in the entire technology. So it means a vulnerability means a normal technology, the technology which we are using, the web application which we are using, that web applications can have certain attack vectors where that vulnerability works.
Okay, sir. So
Cool.
the last one I think for today would be why penetration testing is important by Mr. Alam.
Cool. So first of all, we understand one thing, that is the coding. So it means there's a certain coder who used to design a website, but when it's come to the protection of that website, there's a certain people who used to design the entire building. But when we talk about the certain vulnerability, there is certain problems. A place from where thief can enter, a place from where the water can enter. All of those things is something that is certain vulnerability. The same goes that the problem about the technology, the problem about that web application, the problem about that mobile application is, it means the data which is there in our web server cannot get transferred from our server to some other place. So for that reason, VAPT is important. For that reason, penetration testing is required. The data, because data is something which considered as very important to us. That is something which is very much important. Yep.
All right, sir. So in the end, if you want to add anything, last.
So thank you so much for inviting me here, and you guys
That
are
was
doing
very informative, by the
very
way.
well. And the people who are watching me, just like, share, and subscribe the Hackers Talk. And you guys are doing wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys. So today we had amazing people with so many informations, and if you want more information like this, you can subscribe to our channel, The Hackers Talk. Also, if you have some incidents that you think you're facing related to cybersecurity, you can visit us at thehackerstalk.com. Also, tomorrow we are having an Instagram session from our moderator Nishta, and she'll be asking live question and answers to Miss Priyanka. All right, guys.